You son of a bitch. With an SH. I'm just gonna click go cannot to OBS to go live. I think it is, you son of a... Okay, I don't know how DLive works. Am I live on YouTube?
I'll check.
Oh boy, this is going wonderful. Live streaming isn't available right now, it says.
Oh, it says we're live streaming.
Now it says
right
good
now.
connection.
Yeah, we're live streaming now.
Okay. Okay, so that's boom, boom, boom. Warning: the stream is currently now we are. I don't see my preview. It's still a black screen for me. So, but it says we have viewers. People are saying welcome. So hello, World Wide Web. I'm Decker Shadow, the internet personality that's here, and welcome to Live and Wired episode 39. E3 2019. I should click here, because that's probably one of the reasons why it's a black screen. Anyway, welcome to E3 2019. Live and Wired episode 39, E3 2019, and Bruce is back. Joining.
Yes, and if you're wondering who Bruce is, we'll discuss more about it in the show.
I think most. Okay, well, based on the title card, they should probably figure it out.
Okay.
But maybe, I don't know, there's young kids these days. They don't know these things. They don't get the references. So, joining as always, we have Patricia.
Our mistress and savior.
And that long-haired creepy guy. Now, if I can just get this all to work right, I can see if everything is working right. There we go. So we are live on DLive. I can see that.
All right, that's good.
Also joining with us is the quality that people have come to expect from the show.
And I'm getting some weird-looking stuff on Alfreaka TV, but it's not just telling me it's not online, so that's an improvement.
That's good. Well, I mean, at least we got something to work.
Oh, okay. We are live on Alfreaka TV.
Cool.
Remember, that's the biggest live streaming service in South Korea.
Yay!
There are reasons why I'm expanding out from YouTube and just not just going to Twitch and Mixer and all that. People say, hey, you should diversify a bit. I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking diversify. Now, if only I can figure out how the hell you now works.
Yeah, for sure.
So, welcome everyone. We see chat from Twitch. Raptoid251 says YouTube creepy. Okay, it says hello guys, hello YouTube creepy. Okay, there we go. General Vess Rax says that to 20p though.
No. We're at that point, huh?
Darth Necrosis is asking Alfreaka TV. It's one word, Alfreaka. I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know. It's a South Korean website. I was looking around like, okay, I'm on Restream. Where can this thing go, and where can I put this show? A lot of it's all specifically gaming sites, and I'm like, that doesn't really fit. Despite the fact that this is an E3 2019 episode, but still, I'm trying, pretending to be professional.
Real quick. I don't know if you said this, but Blood Buzz Ohio dropped $2 and said, "Love you, Decker."
Oh, thank you.
Very sweet.
Thank you very much.
You, Decker. My bad. Yeah, I love you, Decker. That's what it says.
So you can stop saying that now, creepy.
We were just hoping that I would say that out loud. So.
Someone's gonna clip this.
Yeah, my camera's been acting as it's too early raining where I'm at.
So always fun. Also, Raptoid251 on Twitch says, "Are things getting better for you, man?" And yes and no. It's like I'm trying to focus on things, and I did finish the review. I finished the Glass review. I posted. Well, I uploaded it. It's in copyright hell right now. Gonna see if it'll be up in the next few days or the next few months. Still, it's taking its sweet time, but I'm starting already on the next review. That might be up first, even though it's the start of the summer special, which got all kind of messed around, and I'm very sorry to Creepy that a lot of the plans we were working on, I kind of backed out at the last minute, I'm mentally unstable right now.
Yeah,
as opposed
for
to
sure.
His normal state of being. I mean, I think what he was getting to is that he meant he was more mentally unstable than usual, which, yeah, I can believe that. Given some of the things that have happened in the last few months, it's forgivable. But we'll shoot for next year, hopefully.
We might still work on something with the summer special this year. Because there's a lot of stuff it could be really fun in there. That's the reason I went for the summer special I did this year, is because it seems fun and upbeat and uplifting, which is what I fucking need.
Right, very true.
Yes, very true.
And there is one movie in particular that I would enjoy reviewing with you, because it's one in particular that I've both seen and that I really, really enjoyed watching.
Also, was that from just now? Free the Cat 777 just followed on DLive, but it always says just followed whenever it's a notification. So I'm not sure if that was from today or from before.
Well, regardless, welcome.
But yeah, there's that big old list of stuff from E3 2019 that happened last week, and Patricia was asking me if we were going to be doing a E3 special like we did last year, and I was like, laundry.
And I was like, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. All right, so I got the stuff right over here. So let's take a look to see what we got.
I have a article from Tech Radar that actually has a very nice list at the bottom of it that just straight lists every single game announcement from every single company.
Yep, I actually got the link right now.
Oh, well, how convenient!
I'm way ahead of you, Decker.
I'm useful.
Okay, there we go. Okay, E3 2019 games, lists, news, and everything you might have missed.
Yeah, that is exactly the same article I found on mine. Okay.
All right, our extensive E3 2019's games list is now complete. At the Los Angeles-based gaming convention is over, with a lot of show from Nintendo, Microsoft, and Square Enix. And let's see, we're going to scroll down and we're going to see what are the games. So I guess, how do we do this? Do we want to start off from like, what the list actually says, or should we start from where, it actually, started? Like, it always starts with like Microsoft and EA and stuff like that, and then Nintendo's usually last. How do you want to do it?
We could try and go in chronological order from the presentations, although they don't list the games in chronological order from when they were presented by the presenters, because right there, it says Breath of the Wild 2. That was announced last. That was the One More Thing one. So that's at the top of their list entirely. It's like, holy shit, guys, Breath of the Wild 2!
Right. Well, it can't be helped. All right, so I guess the first one that we do need to go through is EA, because they were first. They're always first, and
the other one I didn't watch at all, but
Well, I guess it wasn't that much to miss in terms of what they presented. It's always the usual same stuff, but this time around they did present Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is their newest Star Wars game,
which does look interesting from what I have seen, and people say it has a kind of Metroid-style gameplay to it, where it's open world and the abilities you collect will open new areas for you.
Yes.
So that is kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it as well. And I think that was like the only game that actually piqued my interest, because everything else is just your usual FIFA and Maddens. So nothing really out of the ordinary. So yeah, I think that that one is definitely one to look forward to.
Likes the Bacon on Twitch says, I'm just excited for a CD Projekt game. And me too, but possibly not the one you're talking about.
All right, so the next one that happened was Microsoft. So I'm just going to scroll back up. Yeah, there were a lot of games in Microsoft that were shown, and as well as the announcement for their new console, Xbox Project Scarlet.
Which is most likely not going to be the actual name the system gets, because remember, Xbox One X was Project Scorpio.
That's right.
Also, remember how many times Nintendo has used Dolphin to disguise, like their newest console or whatever. It's like there's been like 5, 6.
There's the Project Cafe was what, the Wii?
Yeah.
And at one time,
no, I think it was like Project Revolution.
Well, they announced it was the Nintendo Revolution, and then they said actually the name's going to be Wii.
Gotcha.
And it's like, why Nintendo? Why?
I found myself asking that same thing. And it's just like, why would you? Okay, you started with Revolution and then you went over to Wii, and I'm just like, why would you name a console after something that you might have done in the sandbox?
Every morning you will think about this.
Yes, exactly. I mean, at the very least, Maybe the advertising company was on that train of thought. We were like, every morning, people will be thinking of our console, whether they want to or not.
Wences Acosta says, "I'm drunk. Acknowledge me." Done.
You're acknowledged.
You are acknowledged. Moving on.
All right. So, I was actually surprised that they actually announced like a Gears 5. I didn't even know there was a Gears 4. Or maybe I did, and it's been a long time, but there's another
it's one of those things where Microsoft, as the generation has gone on, is just becoming more and more of just in the back. You don't think about them.
That's fair enough.
So Gears 4 happened, and a lot of us just didn't notice.
True.
Right. So that can sometimes happen with franchises. Like there will be a game that will come out, and it's not even all that bad. It's just that for some reason it just kind of flies under the radar. People will buy it, they'll play it, they'll like it, but they don't really have much to say about it. And then years later, people will be like, why did nobody talk about this game more?
Yeah, Raptoid251 on Twitch says, Gears of War 4 was pretty damn good, though.
Oh, that's cool.
But Likes the Bacon on Twitch says Gears 4 was underwhelming. So, as we know, everyone's a critic.
Yeah. Blair Witch. There's going to be a video game based off of the Blair Witch movie, which I thought was really interesting.
When they were first showing that, I thought that... Oh, God, what was it I was thinking it was? Now I can't remember. What game I thought it was a sequel to.
Until Dawn?
No, the one with the camera that you have to use that to light your way.
Oh, Fatal Frame.
No, the camcorder.
Oh, the camcorder.
That you need to use that to see, and I can't remember the name of the game now.
I'm sure
everyone's gonna start telling it to me, like, Decker, you idiots, it's this.
I'm waiting for when a Fatal Frame game has the feature where you use your phone, where like you literally hold your phone up in front of the game.
Outlast. Cat got it.
Okay,
Outlast. That's what I was thinking it was when they were first showing it. Was a new Outlast game. And
I think that the whole taking the phone picture thing, I think that was part of like a Silent Hill game. I think they did it in one of the Silent Hill games. So, I mean, if they were to do Fatal Frame, maybe they will do that. That'll be pretty interesting.
But yeah, when it did the big zoom out and it had the Blair Witch symbol, I was just kind of confused. I was like, what, really? We're doing a Blair Witch game now?
Yeah, I know. I was actually confused about that. It's actually funny because when I was doing the E3 special on the Aaron Meta show, Aaron was mentioning, the reason why they're doing this is because, the Blair Witch has become like a major staple in our pop culture. Like, look at the Friday the 13th game that came out not too long ago. And I was like, that's true, but there have been a lot of fan movies, and a lot of people still have, a fondness for Jason Voorhees because he's so iconic in the horror movie genre. But Blair Witch was definitely one that caught me by surprise.
A funny thing about it is that there's been rumors about a Blair Witch game for like 15 years now or something like that. Like, I want to say that I first remember hearing rumors about a Blair Witch game back in 2006. And that if anyone is more in the know than I, if they actually did make a Blair Witch game and I just don't know about it, feel free to say so in the comments. I'm just like, I remember hearing this story before, and so like when you said that they were making a Blair Witch game, I was like, again? Didn't they already do that, or haven't they been saying that they were going to do that like for a while now?
We got a 10-pound super comment from Andrew Glazebrook saying, review Jim Wynorski's The Lost Empire, which I'm not entirely certain what it is, but 1984, suddenly I'm very interested.
Oh, which 1984 are you referring to? There was a lot of versions of 1984.
Well, that's the year that movie came out.
Oh. Okay. It's like, 1984. It's like, one. Okay, so I take it that there's like more than one version of Lost Empire. I didn't even know that.
Maybe it's just because The Lost Empire is a pretty generic title, but I feel like I've heard of this movie somewhere before.
Mm-hmm.
But continuing on the list of games, next we have the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga was announced. Which
it's not too surprising.
It kind of confuses me because Lego Star Wars was the Lego game that really got Lego games moving, and since then they've always had a new Lego game to match every new Star Wars movie, and now they're just kind of... I'm looking at that like, well, is that a new game, or is that just all the other games bundled together? I'm confused.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Cat Lunaskaya said, creepy, there were 2 Blair Witch games before this one. Okay.
All right, so I guess that makes a lot of sense.
And likes the bacon on Twitch is asking, is it just me, or are they milking of Star Wars to death now? And yes.
It is you. No, but seriously, I can see where you're coming from. I mean, not only are we going to get an additional bunch of Star Wars movies as soon as the Rise of the Skywalker comes out, but there's also the stuff on Disney Plus, and there's also been an announcement of other ones. So, yeah, for sure. One that I was really surprised that they actually did show footage of was the Battletoads, because we did talk about this last year on the E3 special, but there was like no information, and when looking at it, it looks great.
Mm-hmm. Just Battletoads are making a comeback.
Yeah. Again.
Noah Tancre says, I'm literally just stuck in a restaurant and I'm just watching this. And at first I'm thinking, how can you be stuck in a restaurant? Then I remember the drive-through lines I've just been trapped in forever. So I'm like, okay, I can see it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't. I mean, personally, for me, that's pretty much like the only thing that interests me. If any of these other games interest you, then go ahead by all means.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next on the list is Bleeding Edge, which I can't remember what that is.
No, I don't remember what that is either.
It's an edge. It's apparently an edge that has a paper cut.
Ah.
Oh, well, that was easy.
Ow.
Mm-hmm.
Ow. Battletoads, that looked kind of... Whoa, hello. We got a thing. What was that? I heard the little thing. Okay, we got a new follower on Twitch.
Oh,
hey,
hello.
awesome.
Sir Alcatraz.
Oh, hello,
sir.
I got the alert box up, so it plays a little thing, and there's a little chime, and I was just like, what?
I'm sorry. I think I interrupted you, Patricia. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say my welcome.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, welcome, Sir Alcatraz.
So, Battletoads. Looked at that, and it looks like a Battletoads game, but the art style is bothering me. Because it's very cartoony, and I'm looking at that like, just because it was drawn styles before doesn't mean it was cartoony style. It was comic style. Yeah, the super gritty looking Battletoads from Killer Instinct didn't exactly look right either. But Saturday morning cartoon Battletoads also is too far in the other direction, in my opinion. And it just comes off to me looking like it's trying to ride the coattails of Streets of Rage 4, which was riding the coattails of Shaq Fu, of all things.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, man.
All right. Age of Empire 2...
Got a new follower, Pig Boss. Welcome.
Welcome. Age of Empire 2 Definitive Edition for the PC.
Also got a $20 super chat from Savage Tiebreaker 13 saying, a Decker Shadow game. You chase Japanese women, unleash Godzillas to destroy enemies, and angrily question the abilities of Mothra.
That would be great if we can have the licensing to do all those characters.
5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. That looked really interesting. Like, it was the classic pixel art style with modern effects over it. That looked like it was an interesting take on modernizing a classic game. Mm-hmm. So instead of just changing everything, it still pretty much looks like it used to, but it looks way shinier at the same time. So... Yeah.
I mean, that's usually how, good remasters should look like. Should look the same, except in HD and shinier with widescreen. So, there you go.
Wasteland 3, which Wasteland is a series of games from the original developers of Fallout before it ended up in Bethesda's hands. The ones who made Fallout 1 and 2. Those Fallout developers... They produced the Wasteland series after they lost the rights to Fallout. So, yeah, that looks really nice. If you are a fan of classic Fallout, and by that I mean Fallout 1 and 2, not Fallout New Vegas. If you're a fan of classic Fallout, then yes, check out Wasteland 3. Should be a lot of fun. New channel member on YouTube, New Bao Farzug. Welcome.
Welcome.
Everything is always trying to make me pronounce names I can't possibly, and then I end up just offending everybody. Microsoft Flight Simulator. That was an interesting little thing, but it was kind of funny because I figured it was Microsoft Flight Simulator a lot faster than a lot of the people around me. So
Yeah.
I was like, it's Microsoft Flight Simulator. And they're like, what could this be? It's like, I was watching the Beat 'em Ups Wood stream of it, and he was seeming to have a difficult time figuring out exactly what he was looking at. And I'm like, come on, it's Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah, it's basically a simulator where people who want to fly airplanes can try, actually flying an airplane like if it was there. It's not a game, it's just a simulator.
Michael Bornstein says, it's pronounced Jeff. Get it right. Also, Black Labs Matter dropped $50 Canadian saying, belated congrats for the silver play button, buying the three of you a drink. Hopefully a Canuck brew and not that Milwaukee's best that Deckard drinks. Love y'all.
I'm all in favor of that because I cannot stand American beer. I'm sorry. I've tried it. It tastes awful to me.
Hey, I recently discovered Mexican Guinness.
I've heard that's actually pretty damn good. It's still beer, so you have to acquire a taste for it. But
well, I mean, it wasn't actually Guinness. It was a Modelo Negra.
I've heard
that's with an A. So just so you know, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, that's how that's the word. It doesn't mean.
I know, but nobody cares. Creepy. Nobody cares.
That's true. But no, I've heard of that, and it's supposed to be really good. It's just like I said, it's still beer, so it's an acquired taste. But anyway,
yeah.
Thank you very much, Black Labs Matter. Thank you.
Kat says that they made a joke that this is a flight sim, and then they showed the title, and they were like, why? Minecraft Dungeons. What happens when Minecraft and Diablo have a baby? Which I like Diablo, so I'm looking at that like that could be fun and interesting. It doesn't look like it's got very much to Minecraft in it other than the aesthetic, but considering I'm not the hugest Minecraft diehard fan, I don't mind. If you are, maybe that's not going to do it for you.
Yeah, and also we don't have to play it in our phones.
We can play it on Switch if we want to play it mobile. Ha-ha!
That's even better.
Spiritfarer, again, I have no recollection of this.
Me neither, and it says it's coming to Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah. Now, 12 Minutes, I do remember what that was. It kind of looked like a narrative puzzle indie game, where they found a way to reuse the same assets over and over again and just have a lot of dialogue and make it just kind of a puzzle theme. So it's not that we don't have a budget, guys. We're really trying to make an amazing artistic piece here. But hey, yes. Good on them. It did look interesting.
Vance McDonald asks, Decker versus Creepy, no items. Does Chibi-Hulu count as an item, or can it count as a summon?
I think it counts as an assist trophy.
No. Chibi-Hulu to Creepy would be like Lumia to Rosalina.
Yeah, Rosalina, right.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to deal with Chibi-Hulu. I could knock out Chibi-Hulu, but that wouldn't make me win. I'd have to knock out Creepy. Mm-hmm. I like the way this is going. Except for the part where I get my ass beat because it's 2 against 1.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And if that's the case, then that means Kindle is also the same. So you would have to fight both plushies.
Oh, man.
So Creepy is essentially Pokemon Trainer, where he gets to summon Kindle and Chibi-Hulu and I don't know who else he can summon.
Brandon Kilgore's asking, would you play I Spit on Your Grave, the game, when it comes? That's going to be AO and released only in Japan. Dear God.
Android 21 Lola says Decker versus Creepy, gay off.
Creepy will win hands down.
I don't know. He's bi, not gay.
I mean, that he has a slight advantage.
Okay. I could say he has an advantage, but I think I could still possibly, in some respects, out-gay him.
You have appeared in drag before on video.
That is true.
Yeah.
Okay, Forza Horizon 4 Lego Speed Champions Edition, which just left me kind of staring confused at what I was looking at.
Yes, let's take the beloved Forza games and put Legos in it for the kiddies.
Crossfire X, I again have no recollection whatsoever as to what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And Gears Pop, the Gears of War game with pop figures.
Oh, that's gonna be funny.
Oh man,
this is our next Lego game. We're gonna have a whole bunch of pop figurines in every single genre of video games. We're gonna have pop RPGs. We're gonna have pop puzzle games. We're gonna have pop platformers.
So you got Nintendo trying to bring in all the dark and gritty and extra violent content to try and convince people they're not just for kids, and then you have Microsoft making Gears Pop.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the world we live in.
Okay.
Okay, next one is Bethesda. So,
oh, fun!
Yay! Okay, so yeah, I think that the only game that people seem to really remember that showed in Bethesda was Doom Eternal.
Well,
because everything else was just eh.
Well, Deathloop, I can't remember much of anything other than the fact that, well, it was a CGI trailer, and it was trying to give a sort of movie explanation to a video game world, but I'm like, but it's already a video game. You don't have to do that.
They tend to do that. Anything that's not like Nintendo, they tend to do that in terms of, hey, we are trying to make things look like a movie, as opposed to like Nintendo saying, hey, we're going to show maybe a cutscene or gameplay. So,
But, yeah, Doom Eternal, that actually caught me a bit off guard with the forces of heaven being involved.
Yeah,
I've never seen that in a Doom game before. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to some of them. I didn't play every single Doom game out there. But I'm used to going to hell. I'm used to bringing hell to Earth. I'm used to going to Mars and killing demons and Satan and shit like that. But I've never seen an angel or the gates of heaven in a Doom game.
Yeah, I guess we're going Bayonetta in a sense.
Yeah.
I was about to bring up, well, there's Bayonetta, but, you know, not Doom. Not the same thing as Doom, so, yeah.
Not even close.
Right.
Elder Scrolls Blades coming to Nintendo Switch, which we already knew was happening. When they announced Blades, they were like, yeah, we're going to bring it to everything eventually. It's going to be coming to PlayStation 4, coming to Switch, we're going to make it for VR units. It's just going to be everywhere eventually.
Of course.
Fallout 76, which is really funny to me because, yeah, I've enjoyed Fallout 76, despite how much of a crime it is to say that. I look at it like, yeah, it's buggy and broken as shit, but there's a good game in here deep down. Now a lot of the bugs have been fixed, and pretty much a ton of complaints that people have are now addressed. It's like, okay, you want human NPCs? Here, have some human NPCs. Here's a new quest line. Here's literally everything you've asked for, and there's Beat-em-Ups Wood watching, and he's trying desperately to still be angry at this game and never want to play it. And he's like, well, it's kind of too little too late. And then they're like, by the way, it's free to play for the next week. You can just download it and play the damn thing. Someone play this game, for love of God! We worked so hard on it.
Maybe they'll have like
and then they piss me off by saying, by the way, Battle Royale. I'm like, what? We added Battle Royale to Fallout 76. They're like, that's one of the things you bragged about not doing when you announced the game.
Oh boy.
What the fuck?
Need to get that Fortnite money. Let's see. Ghostwire Tokyo. That's another one.
That was another CGI trailer that everyone's like, we have no idea what the game is like, but it was presented by Ikumi Nakamura, and everyone immediately fell in love with her.
Mm-hmm.
It's spooky.
Yes. And then we have the Wolfenstein games. We have Youngblood and Cyberpilot, which is a VR game.
And Cyberpilot, you control a mech in the Wolfenstein universe, which has some people pissed off saying, well, it's not really a VR Wolfenstein game then. And I'm just looking at it like, it looks really cool. I'd like to play it. I'm a big VR enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
And the game that pissed everyone off.
Not as much as Commander Keen. That pissed a lot of people off when they saw the designs of the characters. It's like, oh, Commander King looks like this, and then they were like, oh man, they were like really angry.
Whew.
Yeah, that was a bit of a rough start. I mean, all right.
No, I don't know why a lot of people are saying, but Commander Keen back in the day was such an amazing thing of this. I'm like, well, it was used, it was popular, people played it, but I remember that game being janky as hell. That's just my opinion on the original Commander Keen. I mean, yeah, the new one should play better than it looks like it plays now.
Sure.
But the old one wasn't exactly the golden standard.
Right.
All right, let's go over to the next one. This one is, let's see, Devolver Digital was the next one. Let me see if I can find that.
Oh, I think I missed that one.
It's not up here. Unless I just scrolled past it.
Or it might be just thrown under various? I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I guess we can just skip that one. So PC. Not on the list either.
Something that people look forward to at E3.
All right, so never mind. We will not talk about that either. Okay, Ubisoft is next.
Ah. I didn't watch that either.
Ubisoft. I mean, I remember Ubisoft being just sort of the company you could kind of count on, but like in the last year or three, it seems like they haven't been doing it as well.
Yeah, they've been relying too much on their cash cows.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would expect to have at least one Assassin's Creed game coming out every single year. And let's see, we have Ghost Recon.
Southern Yankees asking where are Live and Wired T-shirts, and that's an idea.
Where are Live and Wired T-shirts?
Hopefully on Teespring by the end of the week. Wait, it is the end of the week. Shit! By the end of next week.
Well, there's that.
Mm.
Now it looks like there's an argument going on between Twitch and YouTube, because Deoxys on Twitch says, no, Ubisoft. And Michael Bernstein says on YouTube, Ubisoft, but I be softer.
Yeah, the only thing that really stuck out to me personally for the Ubisoft was Watch Dogs Legion. And I was one of those people who was like really excited for the first game when it was like first revealed and everything was just like so unique and you didn't know what the game was about. And then when you do play it, I think that some people were kind of like disappointed and underwhelmed. But this one looks actually really promising. I think that it would, maybe kind of like shake things up a bit, because I remember that some people were like, kind of iffy with the first game because it had a lot of bugs and glitches and it was just kind of underwhelming of what it actually presented. And I don't really hear a lot of people talking about Watch Dogs 2.
That's true.
All right. I don't really have anything to say about Ubisoft, so let's go over to Square Enix.
In Watch Dogs Legion, I personally want to get an army of grandmas. That's all I'm going to get. Just grandma characters. It's going to be nothing but grandmas for my entire team. At least then, if I fuck up and one of them dies, I'm like, well, they led a full life.
Sure. Square Enix. So, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I did not expect them to actually show a release date that was like less than 10 years.
I expected to see it, but I also expected to see it at every E3 for the next 4 years at least.
Yes. But yeah, I guess they're not going to go the Kingdom Hearts 3 route, in which they're going to tease everybody for over a decade saying, it's coming out, just wait. But no, it's coming out next year, which, okay, awesome.
Crystal Chronicles?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the original Crystal Chronicles, I believe the GameCube one, and there's Final Fantasy VIII Remastered,
which is nice because Final Fantasy VIII was one of the only Final Fantasy games that for some reason didn't get brought to Switch. So maybe if they could bring Remastered, that people would understand why. I hope. Because it's like, hey, all those Final Fantasy games that Nintendo gamers haven't been playing, we're releasing them all! 7, 9, 10... Wait a minute, wait.
Oh man.
Yeah, and let's see. And also this is where we got some information regarding about the mana games, the Trials of Mana and the Collection of Mana, which we did get some more information on for the Nintendo press conference in terms of more information. We got some gameplay, we got some trailers, and
Yeah,
I know that a lot of
the collection of mana contains Final Fantasy Adventure, Secret of Mana, and Trials of Mana, the sort of original version
yeah
ported
the one that
over.
the one that
But
never came out in
yeah,
America.
that never came out in America before now. And Trials of Mana itself is getting a remaster, like
That's
a
right.
major remaster.
Though they did do a major remaster of Secret of Mana a few years ago.
Okay, makes sense then.
Yeah. Let's see, and there's some Dragon Quest stuff, but we'll discuss more about that when we reach Nintendo, because they revealed a lot of like Dragon Quest information. All right. I guess that's not really much we can talk about. So, let's get into some. Let's see. What was the last? Okay, yeah, Nintendo was the last one. So yeah, let's go. Which is pretty much the best for last.
Well, what about 2K?
Oh, 2K. I'll give them an A for effort.
But the Borderlands.
A for effort. All right, so I will take a look at the various stuff later, but yeah, let's talk about Nintendo next.
Okay.
So, yeah, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild 2. That was the one that actually did show last, and everybody freaking out.
It's interesting because it seems to be using the basic engine from Breath of the Wild, possibly the same overworld, though I could see how they could change it up quite a bit because, remember, that's pretty much what happened with Majora's Mask versus Ocarina of Time. They are two very different games, but Majora's Mask is using the engine and most of the assets from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it's actually surprising because Nintendo usually doesn't do a lot of sequels to like their first party titles, at least like in the same console generation. The last time I think I can recall that was like with like Super Mario Galaxy 2, in which we had 2 of them for the Nintendo Wii. So I guess that's pretty commendable that they are actually working on it. And I read an article recently that they're heavily gonna take cues from Red Dead Redemption 2 on their take on Breath of the Wild 2. Not that it's the West, but I think the open world and the interactions with everything. So I'm actually looking forward to it. And it looks like from the trailers that we're going to see Ganon or Demise or whoever that they
rehydrated Ganondorf.
Yeah, rehydrated Ganondorf. With like, I think that the music was like playing backwards. I'm sure there's like some website out there or some YouTuber who like just deciphered it, and it's like, oh, that's what it means. It's this song in backwards, and it's going to be this thing or whatever. So yeah, I'm actually really interested to see how they're going to do this game.
Nodimus Crime says, oh boy, I just can't wait for Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
I mean, yeah. No, personally, I'm really looking forward to Tokyo 2020 Olympics. I am one of those people who loves watching the Olympics every year, and I actually, and the Tokyo one is the one I'm really excited for. So I take it that it's probably going to be the same thing.
So I'm gonna go and pick Mario and play fencing and shank a motherfucker.
Sure, that sounds awesome. But yeah, I they'll probably introduce like some games that are going to be exclusive to the Tokyo Olympics. I wouldn't be surprised if they have that in there as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just like went all Japan, as you do to follow the theme of a particular Olympics. So we'll just see.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3. That looked like a lot of fun. Like it fixed a lot of the problems that a lot of people had with the first Luigi's Mansion, that being, it's too fucking short!
Honestly, I enjoyed Luigi's Mansion a lot,
but it was really, really short.
It was short.
It was not a game that was especially long. It is the kind of game that you feel like should be longer, and yeah, the first one, it's over fairly quickly.
Luigi's Mansion 3 doesn't necessarily take place in a mansion, though, a hotel. So maybe Hotel Mario is a bit more fitting of a name.
Hotel Luigi.
That's true horror right there.
That is very true horror.
Hotel Mario. Yeah, that's going to bring back plenty of horror stories for people.
As long as we don't get a spaghetti power-up, then I'm okay. Okay. But yeah, it does look really cool. I do like the new features that they have for the Poltergust, and I do like the variations of different rooms that you get to travel around in, and yeah, I think it looks really
Gooigi
awesome.
2-player mode?
Yeah, Gooigi. There was actually somebody who asked one of the developers a question about Gooigi, and is like, can you eat it? It's like, why are you asking such things?
How does Gooigi taste?
He tastes like lime.
Well, that isn't disturbing.
Hey, don't ask me. I'm not the one who asked the question to one of the developers of Luigi's Mansion 3.
Okay.
All right. Animal Crossing's New Horizons. Now, this is interesting because last year on our E3 special, we did hear rumors about an Animal Crossing game on the Switch, and we actually did see pictures of it. So I take it that this is the game that they were, kind of like leaking online. So it looks pretty cool. It has, them in an island, and you get to do the usual Animal Crossing stuff, which a lot of people are really into. So yay.
And Nintendo said, sorry, you're going to have to wait till next year for this one, because
Yeah.
we're not going to be working our employees to absolute death for crunch time. We're just going to say, okay, it's just going to take the loss and delay it a couple of months. It'll be fine. It'll be a better game that way.
It's fine.
And their investors were like, how dare you? And they lost a few $1 billion of value overnight because of that.
Yeah, for sure. And we need microtransactions if you want to get some more bells for this amount of for this amount of money, and you get to do it, right before the limited time offer ends. Please don't ever do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one is Pokemon Sword and Shield, and now a lot of people are really pissed about it because now they made the announcement of that there won't be any national decks and that not every Pokemon will be available. Which I can understand why some people are really upset about. It's like, oh, but it's all about, gotta catch them all. So,
well, I think this might be the first time that you haven't been able to trade it in there, I think, but I don't think it's the first time that there's a new generation, and the first two games to come out with that new generation don't include absolutely every Pokemon in those two games.
Yeah, I mean, Ruby and Sapphire was that, and Black and White, they decided to take a risk and not include a lot of the original Pokemons, but just a bunch of new ones. And that was Lightning and Thunder, by the way.
But they also teased the third legendary. They showed this legendary for Sword and the legendary for Shield. And who is the third mysterious Quasass motherfucker over here? And I'm just raising my hand in the back. Is it Pokemon Gun? Is it Pokemon Gun? Please tell me it's Pokemon Gun.
Oh, only we can dream. But yeah, I think it looks pretty awesome, and I think that personally for me, the battles that they're gonna have, like with the giant Pokemon, making it look like it's a kaiju fight.
I'm gonna be doing the hell out of that to my Steelix. Just telling you right now.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it actually. All right. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Now, this is the remake of the Game Boy game, and it looks like what the original was, except that it looks kind of like a Funko figurine with everything looking all, cutesy and colorful and such. Which
shiny as hell, like everything's made out of plastic.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people were actually really not excited about the new look. But I think I did read an article on Game Informer discussing about how, since it originally came out for the Game Boy, that because of the limitations of the graphics, that we kind of like put into our imaginations of what we think that the game looked like, as opposed to what it actually looked like, because it was just nothing but pixels.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not the worst that it could have looked. So I think it looks really cute.
I personally like the art style. It's a bit different, but it still pretty much looks like it used to. But
yeah. Yeah, and I've been seeing like pictures of like what.
Pudak says, "Looks be damned. Don't tone down the difficulty." I don't remember it being a particularly hard game.
It's been a while since I
I
played
don't
it,
know.
so I
Basically,
can't
you
say
wanted to
anything.
go back to old school Nintendo hard, where playing a game can raise your stress level and threaten a heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Who wants to play a little Smash TV?
I buy that for $1.
Oh man.
All right. Let's see. Super Mario Maker 2, which I think it's coming out next week or something?
Yeah,
Or is
Friday.
it already out? Friday.
It's coming out in less than a week, to the 28th.
Okay, so there
and
you go.
I got that shit on pre-order.
Woo!
Decker wants you all to know that he has pre-ordered a game that he could have made himself using very basic ROM hack.
And also, not to mention that you will expect to see at least one attempt of an Auto Mario.
Oh, obviously.
I also expect to see Decker playing the game on his gaming channel and swearing at the screen.
I could hook my Switch up to my Elgato, and I could probably get it actually streaming on Twitch and Mixer. Not sure about YouTube, because it likes to complain a lot anymore.
Yeah, but it looks pretty good. Again, I wasn't expecting them to do a sequel to Super Mario Maker, and I was hoping that they would like include like more games that you can be able to play around with, like maybe add like a Nintendo 64 Mario Maker, or maybe like Super Mario. Whoa, that
God. Okay, everyone. Thoughts and prayers for Patricia.
Yeah, if I leave, you'll know why.
No,
we're gonna have to clap our asses off. Not literally clapping our asses, by the way. I mean, like, to emphasize the amount of clapping we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean. But yeah, I was hoping that they would like include like more, games to like play around with, and and I did hear that they might be like eliminating some features, but then they said, oh no, we're gonna bring it back in a patch or something. So that was like, oh, okay, you should have had it in the first place, like multiplayer and online play and sharing it with everyone. So yeah. Darth Necrosis was like, what was that? That was lightning. It's raining where I'm at.
Right.
Kevin Burdine is asking if I or Creepy have seen the Elton John movie.
Oh, Rocket Man.
I have not. I haven't.
I was just thinking of the only movie I remember seeing with Elton John in it was Tommy.
And there goes again.
And that's an evil thing to say.
You have to, every time that happens, you have to punctuate each sentence with a
Oh boy.
Okay, Astral Chain. This is the new game that's going to be coming out from Platinum Games.
We still don't know a damn thing about Bayonetta 3, but Astral Chain, baby. Astral Chain does look like a game that's like. As soon as I saw the first trailer reveal for it, I remember just thinking 30 seconds in, I have no idea what this game is, but I must have it.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling's kind of continued. I'm getting a better idea of what this world and story are, but I still don't really know all that much, other than it's going to play like a Platinum Games thing. It's going to have your platformy-ish parts. It's going to have your battle, and you're going to have this demon thing, because there's these demon things invading the Earth, and you gotta get your own demon thing to be able to fight the demon things, and you gotta link to them with an astral chain. Haha, let's see what we did there.
Astral Chain sounds like an attack by Sailor Moon, like one of the
yeah, for sure.
Astral Chain!
I've been trying to avoid saying that out loud, and it's just, the more we talk about it, the more it had to come out. Okay.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Goyardo says, Thor wants to say hi.
Yes, Thor is right by my backyard. So, And Kat Luciana says, now Zeus has joined. Yes. All the lightning gods are here by my backyard. So
Pikachu, use Thunderbolt!
Yes. So if you hear that they're just having a party. Okay, so let's go over to the next one. So we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order, which we don't really know too much about it other than the trailer, and a lot of people being really pissed off at it, saying like, "Oh, it doesn't look anything like the movie character."
Have they played the previous Marvel Ultimate Alliance games?
I don't know. Yeah, forget it. I don't care. Okay, Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necro Dancer featuring The Legend of Zelda, which finally you get to play Zelda instead of Wand of Gamelon. And
I'm wondering if you might play Zelda in Breath of the Wild 2, because she has short hair. And she's shown adventuring alongside Link in the trailer. I know there was a lot of things with original Breath of the Wild where she's clearly seen with Link a lot of times, and that was just for the story segments that were actually memories, so they weren't even happening while you were playing.
Mm-hmm.
But
I do
still,
that in Hyrule Warriors, you have the option of playing as Zelda.
Oh yeah,
I guess that's true. Yeah,
and she is actually very powerful. Like, she is one of the best characters to play as. Like, once you get the gaming system and the controls and everything down pat, like, playing as Zelda is like, she's pretty damn powerful.
She's running around with that rapier tearing people apart, and then she's like, okay, here's the Triforce power of fuck you, boom! But yeah, being able to play as Zelda in Cadence of Hyrule is still plus. I'm still wondering whether or not she'll be playable in some fashion in Breath of the Wild 2, because I'm thinking short hair, that's a bit of a change. That would make it really easy to show different pieces of equipment on her back without having to worry about her hair clipping through them.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Just saying.
Very true. All right, Fire Emblem Three Houses. We have another Fire Emblem game, which it's to be expected since a lot of people really like the Fire Emblem series now, and the trailer looks actually pretty cool. With the fact that we have like three different you have these people gathering up together for the first time in a long time, that they were like students in a academy or something, and now they have different ideals and philosophies about things, and that looks pretty interesting.
True.
And then, of course, we have the Dragon Quest games, which I guess we can reveal that the hero from Dragon Quest, I believe 11, is going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as a playable character, as well as a few other characters, such as Erdrick from the original, which is pretty cool. And I think that I remember that a lot of people, when they saw the trailer for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and they were seeing like the white horse and everybody being attacked by those like dark manifestations of the characters, or like, oh, is this another Fire Emblem character? It was like, oh no, it's a Dragon Quest when the music started playing. Let's see. And No More Heroes 3. Now, this one I'm actually looking forward to, because I remember that Suda was making a comeback with the spin-off of No More Heroes that came out on the Switch. I believe.
And nobody liked it.
Yeah, nobody liked it. But this one looks really promising. No More Heroes 3. This is the one that everybody got really excited over.
I don't think we've seen any gameplay of it yet, but
no, it's just a trailer.
It is No More Heroes 3, and people have played No More Heroes 1 and 2, so it's a good, reasonable thing to assume that it's going to be similar to that.
All right.
Yeah. And we already talked about Mario and Sonic, so there's not much to say. So Resident Evil 5 and 6 are going to be ported into the Switch, which, okay.
Which actually, they have split-screen multiplayer now, which is nice.
Yeah, cool.
I think they probably should... I think they likely had it on PS4 and Xbox One as well, but I didn't get 5 or 6, so I just remember the original releases of them back in the 7th generation, and I know they didn't have split-screen multiplayer then.
Clarify something for me real quick. Are these like remakes of earlier Resident Evil games, like with Resident Evil 2, the remastered?
No. This it's just a port job.
Ports.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we just got Resident Evil 2 remake not too long ago. I don't think they're gonna jump the gun saying we're gonna get 3, 4, 5, 6 all at once for the Nintendo Switch.
People would absolutely love a full Resident Evil 2 style remake of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
People would just explode in hype if they saw that just come up.
For sure.
I gotta be honest with you. Okay, it wasn't. Okay, I really love Resident Evil 2. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the thing that kept me from liking the Resident Evil remake, the reboot, whatever, relaunch, or whatever you want to call it, it is just ugly to look at. Like, there is almost no color whatsoever. Like, even when you've got a big, bright flashlight shining on things, it's all just gray and saturated darks, and, it's just... And I'm just like, I know this is a survival horror game, but I need something other than grayscale to look at. Oh, I just hated it so much.
That's understandable.
We need to save the city. Why? Raccoon City sucks.
We need to save Raccoon City, or do we just need to get our color palette back?
Got a 0 out of 5 on Yelp.
Cenobite 1991 says they prefer a Code Veronica remake.
Well, that'd be cool.
Well, that I can believe.
And I guess the last thing to mention for Nintendo right before that we move over to the other games is that we have a new playable character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Banjo-Kazooie. And everybody was like freaking out.
Dyro11 is now following on Twitch. Welcome.
Hello.
And that was a funny thing with the announcement of Banjo and Kazooie in Smash, because they had it set up like the King K. Rool announcement, except King K. Rool was there with the Kongs, and they're all just sleeping, and then a Jiggy just bounces across the screen, making the familiar little Jiggy bounce sound, and they all wake up and they're like, what's that? And everyone's watching there and start freaking out, and they look out the window, and there's a sun and a silhouette figure trying to squint and see. Everything comes into focus. It's looking like Banjo and Kazooie steps into the light. It's Duck Hunt Dog. And everyone's like, what the hell? And then Banjo and Kazooie falls from the sky and just smashes his ass. I'm like, ha ha! And then everyone freaks out again.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you should have seen when they were doing the reactions over at the Nintendo store in New York. Everybody just like was crying and just like high-fiving each other and hugging. It was magical.
Take two there. Borderlands 3 and The Outer Worlds. There's a couple of things I want to say. Number one, in regards to Borderlands, in case anyone's forgotten and didn't notice, it's like free right now. Like Borderlands, the Handsome Collection is one of June's PlayStation Plus games, free to download, and as long as you keep your PlayStation Plus membership, you can keep it in your library forever. Along with Sonic Mania on PlayStation Plus, which is a real nice one that I suggest. Mm-hmm. And it's also a Borderlands: The Handsome Collection is also now on Xbox Game Pass. So that's another one where you can download it and play that on your Game Pass, or you can spend, I think right now the price is $9 to just buy it on Xbox Live with Game Pass. And it's got Handsome Collection, all the DLC. You got the 4K textures if you want to spend 15 gigabytes downloading that and see no difference. And especially since they're actually not even compatible with the PlayStation 4 base model, and probably not the Xbox One base model either. But even then, it still does. They're not. The point I'm trying to make here. They also announced a new DLC, Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary, for Borderlands 2, which is free right now, but come July 8th, they're going to start charging for it. So if you have Borderlands 2, be it on PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Steam, wherever the hell you have it, download that DLC before July 8th. It's free. Wait too long, they're going to charge you for it. It introduces a new new little quest line that tries to bridge the gap between Borderlands 2 and 3. It increases the level cap in Borderlands 2 up to 80. Introduces a new tier of weapons beyond Legendary. Rainbow, whatever the hell they call. And what else is there? Oh yeah, if you feel like it, you can also start a character at level 30 instead of waiting until actually playing through the game. It completes all of the quests of the game except for the last quest of the first playthrough. So you can start a character at level 30, beat the last boss, and then start in true Vault Hunter mode, if that's your thing, or start a level 30 character and just play the Commander Lilith and Fight for Sanctuary DLC, if that's your thing, or you can just play the game, because that's also kind of fun. It's a game, it's designed to be.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. I guess we can go over to, let's see, CD Projekt Red, which they showed Cyberpunk 2077, and now everybody's making a whole bunch of jokes and praises for Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yes. You're breathtaking!
Yes.
Now get up.
Oh, yeah, also 2K, there was the Outer Worlds.
Oh, yeah, the Outer Worlds.
Which... a lot of people look at that and say, it's like Fallout. I'm looking at well, according to the developers, no. It's like Fallout New Vegas. In some ways, yes, but no. Fallout, if you like Fallout and hate Fallout 76, you should get the Outer Worlds. That's a terrible thing to tell people. If they want Fallout, they're not going to find it here. It's going to be an interesting game. To me, I'm looking at it, I think it looks kind of like Borderlands if it was actually an RPG. Which is not the same thing as Fallout.
True.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. But if anyone gets into that and expects it to be Fallout, it's not going to be. But then again, it's like Falcon from Game Ranks was telling people if you were disappointed in Fallout 76, you should go get Far Cry New Dawn, which is absolutely no way in hell anywhere close to a Fallout game. But hey, it's post-apocalyptic, close enough. Lizard's review says, it's like Fallout, but it's not as fun. I guess he's talking about the Outer Worlds. I'd be saying that about Far Cry New Dawn.
Yeah, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition. Okay.
Well, that's actually coming out on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is one of the things where people would joke about The Witcher 3 coming out on Nintendo Switch. Beat 'em Ups Wood had a fake Nintendo Direct reaction on April Fool's Day this year, where Witcher 3 on Switch was one of the first things he had in it as just a thing people want, but is absolutely never happening. There was a little bit of a leak of The Witcher 3 coming to Nintendo Switch before E3, and Digital Foundry did a video where they tested if that's viable, and they came to the conclusion that no, it isn't. And here it is. And now you got people coming up to Gearbox saying, hey, that's a lovely Borderlands 3 you got there. Why the hell isn't it coming to Switch? Witcher 3 can run on Switch. Fun.
All right, I guess we can go over to the next bit. Let's see. Sega! Panzer Dragoon remake for the Nintendo's... Sega! Panzer Dragoon remake for the Nintendo Switch.
That caught me off guard, and I was like, holy shit, Panzer Dragoon! Holy shit, it's the original! Holy shit!
I keep saying holy shit!
Phantasy Star Online 2 was announced at the Microsoft conference for Xbox One. It's actually not going to be Xbox exclusive. It's going to be a timed exclusive in the West for the Xbox. But it's just... That was supposed to be out, back in, 2012? And I was sitting here, I was waiting so long for that game. I was such a big fan of Phantasy Star Online, waiting so long for Phantasy Star Online 2. I can't wait to get my hands on this game. I can't wait to play this game. And I had to wait so long. I just got through all the stages of grief, from the denial, the bargaining, the depression, and I've reached acceptance now, Sega. I've reached acceptance. I know I'm never going to get to play this game. What the fuck are you doing?
I think they saw your pain and were like, okay, fine.
Now I'm just confused! The world has turned upside down. Hey, have you heard about this game, Phantasy Star Online 2? It's going to be coming to the West. I'm like, what dimension am I in?
Your guess is as good as mine. But hey, Phantasy Star Online 2 coming out on Xbox One. So now for everybody who didn't get to experience it when it came out.
And I got my Xbox One X, and I am going to be playing that day fucking one in the West. I know there's people who've been playing it for years because they've been just going onto DNSs and going on to proxy servers and just logging onto the Japanese sites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I've been sitting here being a good boy. Like, no, I'm not going to break the rules. I'm going to wait patiently at the table. And fucking everyone else already ate the food.
And it gets you absolutely nowhere.
I'm not upset at all at this. They've given me something that I've wanted for years. Of course I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Well, that's good.
Jacob Kennedy 2002 on Twitch says Decker is really happy now.
Yes, he is. He's very happy. Very, very happy. All right. Sega Genesis mini console coming out on September 2019 with mini games like Mega Man: The Wily Wars, Earthworm Jim, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2, Echo the Dolphin, and 35 more classic games.
Which is actually more than they said it was going to be, because everyone said it was going to be 40 games, and it was actually 42. But you're still not getting Sonic 3 and Knuckles because, distribution problems, music rights, kinds of things.
Yeah, for sure. And also we get to see the Tetris game for the Sega Genesis, the one that never got out. So there's your little Star Fox 2 nugget of playing a game that was never released and playing it for the first time in a classic console.
Yeah, Mega Man: The Wily Wars also was never released physically in the West, but it actually did get, or at least wasn't in America. I guess
it was in Europe.
Yeah, Europe is still the West. But it wasn't in the far West. The Wild West. But it was released on Sega Channel, and I played it there. It was fun.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Namco Bandai. So, Tales of Arise. So, we have our next Tales game. So, anybody, if you're a fan of the Tales series, like...
I'm going to have to tell Thick Black Daddy. I believe he is.
Okay, cool. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, I believe that is an RPG, from what I understand.
An RPG that has a battle system that's very similar to the Budokai Tenkaichi series, which is right up my alley. It's like, it's a combination of two things in Dragon Ball games I really like, where it takes an RPG, which just feels right in a Dragon Ball universe, and it's got that over-the-shoulder combat style where you fly around and throw laser blasts and punch people in the dick and send them flying into mountains.
Yes. And let's see what else I can think of. Code Vein. I don't really know too much about that one.
I can't remember that at all.
Me neither. Let's see. The Dark Pictures anthology Man of Medan.
I take it back. I remember that even less.
Okay, and finally we have Red.
Well, sounds rad.
Yeah, Red. Okay, now we have our various stuff. Elden Ring via From Software. That's their new game. Not really that much information about it.
But From Software, so you know it's going to beat your ass.
Yes. Dying Light 2 from Techland. For those who are fans of the first Dying Light, then you get your sequel. Way to the Woods from Team 17.
Oh, Big Daddy's asking, can we get a Summer of Antonio Banderas, please? And don't say such things. You're making me realize just how bad my choice was for the summer special.
Well, let's see. There's the what's the name of it? The Mariachi. Well, he wasn't in the first one though. I was thinking, the first movie is El Mariachi. The second one is Desperado, and the third one is Once Upon a Time in Mexico. But he wasn't in El Mariachi, and El Mariachi was strictly a Mexican film. It was, I think it was dubbed in English, but not dubbed very well. But you also have The Mask of Zorro. Then you have the Puss in Boots movie. So
that'd be fun to talk about.
That counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was also a thriller he starred in back in the early 90s before he got really famous called Never Talk to Strangers.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He starred a lot. Okay, now I have to know. What was that actress's name? Because I'm blanking on it. Hold on.
Okay.
Here we go. Never Talk to Strangers. Rebecca De Mornay. That's it. Right. Starring Rebecca De Mornay and Antonio Banderas, a 1995 movie. Right around the time he first started getting famous.
Skycrash 8's asking for a review of Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. That has been a big request for a while. It's one of those ones where it's like, I better damn get to that eventually.
The Zorro sequel and Interview with a Vampire. Yeah, right.
Yes, Way to the Woods. I can't remember all of what that is.
I think that is that an indie game. I think.
I think so, but I can't remember much at all. I'm just trying to piece together the looks of like artistic indie puzzle platformers, and they all kind of start looking the same in my head.
Fair enough. All right, Dauntless.
That's a MMORPG, right?
I think so.
And it's like on everything. And it's coming to the Switch as well.
Cool. This one was actually a surprise because I don't think anybody expected this. The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics, based off of the upcoming Netflix series.
That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember when I was watching that Nintendo Direct, view with the Nintendo store in New York. Everybody was like looking at it and was like, "Oh, what is that?" And then they saw Dark Crystal and they were like confused. It's like, I don't think a lot of people who were watching that even knew what Dark Crystal was.
That's weird to me because I recognized Dark Crystal right away.
Yeah.
I was just like, what is the gameplay? What the hell is it? What? It's a tactical strategy kind of thing? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd expect an adventure game, but that's just me.
Yeah, everybody's saying Way to the Woods was the deer simulator.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that actually looked pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't what I was thinking at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I was thinking puzzle platformer, but that's more walking simulator, but you got 4 legs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next one is Dead by Daylight, coming to the Nintendo Switch via Koch Media.
Yeah, it's been out forever, but new to Switch. Looks kind of like crap on Switch, but hey, portable.
New Super Lucky's Tale, coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Which means that's one less exclusive for Xbox.
Empire of Sin, which is the new game by John Romero. Kind of looks like a gangster game, almost like if it's with the mafia and there's a shootout and stuff.
Oh yeah, now I remember. Yeah, and that's actually like a turn-based XCOM style.
Yeah,
thing.
that's the one. Mm-hmm.
Very weird choice, but okay.
Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, which is their sequel from Playtonic, and it looks more like Donkey Kong Country as opposed to Banjo-Kazooie. So now they're going even further back into their gameplay style, which should be interesting.
There are pickups everywhere.
We must get all the pages. Okay. Now we have Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Not sure what that one is. Maybe I missed that one. I think that's everything. So yeah. Now we can just give our thoughts about like who, in our opinion, won E3. So I think Nintendo won.
Well, Nintendo had the benefit of they weren't going to have any gaffes because they pre-record their thing and just send it out there. And they had the nice little moment where they had to acknowledge the new president of not United States, the Nintendo America, and new president of the United States, Doug Bowser. Nintendo just has that kind of sway.
Although, okay, who wants to say it? Which is really, really worse if you think about it? Trump or Bowser for president?
Oh, must you, creepy? Must you?
You see, when you get the super crown on Bowser, you get Bowsette. If you try that with Trump, you end up with Trumpet.
Yeah.
That's just annoying.
Let's go with the Bowser one then.
Sure.
Let's go with the Bowser one.
Yeah, I think that for the most part, it was a surprise that Sony wasn't there this year. I guess they didn't have a lot of things to showcase, or maybe they decided, you know what, let's try to see if it can work out with next year, or maybe they were planning on having their own conference. It's actually interesting. A lot of people were asking, is E3 going to be, more relevant in a couple of years because everybody's doing their own personal conferences and, leaning more towards doing other conventions and cons and expos to present their games.
Ah, that's nice. Pudak says that he actually laughed at my dad joke. Oh.
Very nice.
I'm getting practice because me and Charlie, we would like to actually see about starting a family at some point. So I gotta be at least so cringe in order to be a father.
I think you'll be just fine, Decker. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to if Sony does come back next year. I think that we'll probably get some more information about The Last of Us 2 and maybe some other stuff. I mean, maybe like a God of War sequel after the first one. The first one for the PS4, not the original God of War for the PS2, but the one that actually continues the story because if you played all the way through the end, it kind of like hints at more stuff to come.
Where we find out the boy's teenage years, he becomes angsty and just as violent as his dad.
Yes, exactly. But then again, maybe they won't follow through because if we remember from the original God of War, they actually did have a storyline that never followed through. You remember that they were actually going to have, God of War, like, remember when we were like looking through like the prophecies? And,
okay,
like,
that's interesting. I just realized that my view counter is not working right because it's saying that there's like 0 viewers on YouTube, which is actually not true this time. So I'll just turn that off.
Okay. But yeah, there was like I remember the prophecy that they were revealing, like it was showing like the gods and their eventual downfall, and I think they were showing like the birth of Christ. I think that they were hinting at because I think I remember when God of War 3 was finished, they were like talking about like, hey, let's set the next God of War in Egypt or something, and then they never followed through, and then they decided to put it over to Norse mythology as opposed to Christianity, which I guess it since there were people who had different ideas at the time, different people who were working on the game, and their ideas didn't go through, so it's not too much of a surprise. And I just hope that they actually do follow through with the upcoming story about Atreus. So.
See, I just want them to eventually make their way to Scientology so that Kratos can go to space to kick alien gods' ass.
That would be amazing. I want that now. I want it.
So would this be a game that's based off of Battlefield Earth then?
Yes, and John Travolta is the final boss. And his main power-up is hamming it up. Your day! I was out there conquering galaxies.
But yes, I actually have a Twitter poll in relation to E3 and all of the wonderful moments that we all remember. And the best E3 moment poll, we have 4 choices. Choice number 1 is breathtaking Keanu. You're breathtaking. You're breathtaking!
We're all breathtaking.
Choice number 2 is spooky Ikumi Nakamura from the Bethesda conference. You remember Ikumi Nakamura. You don't remember the game she was presenting, but you remember Ikumi. It's spooky.
It's spooky.
Choice number 3 is professional Bowser, as they were bringing Bowser out to present the Nintendo presentation, and then they had to shoo Bowser in his nice tie out of there because they actually wanted Doug Bowser, and it was very sad, but Bowser was professional.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, angry Todd Howard.
Gotta love him.
Hi, we made a game.
Hope you like it.
You had words about it. So, that is on Twitter at DeckerShadow, 30 minutes starting now.
Yes. Choose wisely, or else we're going to have to get microtransactions for every time that you vote. I hope we don't do that. All right. So yeah, that was our E3 talk, and we talked for over an hour and 20 minutes. So
Well, that's
now
less time than E3 took.
yeah, just about. I hope that we were just as entertaining. So yeah, we got some. So yeah, let's go over some other news. I guess the first thing I want to, we'll get to more information about Bruce later, but I want to actually reveal some things that were shown in E3 since we still have, it on our mind. So there were two consoles that were presented in E3. I'm not going to talk about the Stadia because we already talked about it before, and we already talked about its competitors for Apple and all those things. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about one that I personally did not see coming. This is from Konami. And, Konami, we forgot to mention that, they had the Contra collection, and they're going to have a new Contra game. So there you go. But in addition for that, Contra is taking a time from their pachinko machines to give us their own version of a classic console, the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, or the PC Engine Mini for those in Japan. So this is the newest information. Okay, so whose turn is it? Creepy?
I don't know,
Or
because
Decker?
we just talked about E3 for an hour and a half.
All right. Well, I mean, it's just the consoles.
I'll take this one.
Sure.
Konami, which holds the rights to the PC Engine / TurboGrafx 16 brand via its ownership of the now defunct Hudson Soft, has lifted the lid on yet another retro-themed micro console. This time, it's NEC Hudson's legendary PC Engine, the system which took Japan by a storm in the late 80s and came to the US in the slightly less successful form of the TurboGrafx 16. Yeah, I heard about that. The TurboGrafx, it wasn't called that, but in Japan, for a little while there, it was a really big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of like the Wonder Swan, like in the United States, who's heard of the Wonder Swan? But in the early 2000s, it was actually a bigger deal than the Nintendo Game Boy. But anyway, the console will come in 3 designs. The Japanese market will get the original white PC Engine, while Europe will get the Core Graphics Revision, which was basically just a different case color with AV output rather than RF. In the US, the players will get the TurboGrafx 16 case design, which was larger to appeal to American sensibilities. Americans are all about the dollar symbol, whether they admit it or not. If it's not bigger than Japan, we start to feel inadequate.
Yes, it has to be like bulky. It doesn't matter if it can't fit in your, living room. We need to show off that we have the power.
Yeah.
Puddock's asking, why was it called the PC Engine? And I'm just thinking it's like, in Japan, the NES wasn't the Nintendo Entertainment System, it was the Famicom. It was family computer. There was just a lot of PC computer. That was just kind of how people referred to game consoles and trying to hype up what it was and what it was capable of. Whereas, for some reason in America, it either confused people, or if you were trying to just say, okay, video games after 1983, then that was a no-no. That was after the game crashed. You don't want to say video game. That's not going to sell well. It's an entertainment system.
For sure.
So to answer the question, I have no idea.
Yeah. But thank you for the question, though. Continue, Creepy.
Anyway. Hello?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay. It got, like, super quiet all of a sudden just from both of you, and I was just like, okay, did my connection die, or what just happened?
It's having some trouble. You're coming through a little robo, but other than that...
You're fine.
Okay. Okay. It has also been revealed which games will be available on the Japanese version. Superstar Soldier. I don't know what that one is. There's like, okay. Part of it is just I have to do this. Dungeon Explorer. Yeah, that doesn't sound generic. Okay.
Dungeon Explorer. Oh, Ys.
Yeah, Ys is coming out. Awesome. And also we have Castlevania Rondo of Blood.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see, and coming soon, my favorite. Let's see, games so far for the Western.
I love that game.
Yeah, that's a classic. Let's see. R-Type, New Adventure Island, Ninja Spirit, Yeast Book 1 and 2, Dungeon Explorer, and Alien Crush. Okay, so...
Demon Orcs asking, dear God, is that sucky game Bonk?
Yes, that does look like Bonk.
I believe that is Bonk.
It is Bonk, yes. It's right there.
You play as
right
the
there.
caveman, but you don't attack things by jumping on them. No, you flip upside down and whack your head into them because you're Bonk.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, this second game right here, it's called The Kung Fu. Not Kung Fu, The Kung Fu. Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much it for, that console. Let's talk about the other console. This is one that we actually did briefly talk about because of the fact that the new Earthworm Jim is actually going to be released there. So we have the Intellivision Amico.
Amico?
Amico.
Okay.
This one's mine too, I assume?
No, it's Decker's.
Okay. While hanging out at E3, we're pretty chill. We chatted with Intellivision President Tommy
Tallarico,
who shared his opinions on the upcoming co-op-friendly console, but we don't want to speak for him. Here are his thoughts on the industry and the state of Intellivision. On the release of the Amico, we're 16 months out. We're launching in 10-10-2020. On 10-10-2020, okay. So our big E3 is next year. A big booth will be with people playing 100 machines and all that. Next E3, we're going to be blowing it out. And you're going to be like, oh my god, it'll be mind-blowing. It's something very, very excited. Okay. We'll absolutely be doing an E3 press conference next year. This is why I want you guys to come here and talk to me. This isn't a Kickstarter project. This is the real deal. We have 600 years of video game experience. Okay. How the hell did you manage that one? On our core executive team. 600 years. Oh,
How many people are working on this?
I love this guy's enthusiasm. I love Tommy, you amaze me. On the target audience, if you think about it, there's 200 million hardcore gamers in the world. We're going to let Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo, and now Google, fight for those 200 million gamers. For us, there's 3 billion gamers. They just don't call themselves gamers. They play on their phone every day. But the reality is, they're 55% of the entire $140 billion industry. So you're doing the we angle, okay? On marketing, when we launch, one of the big things will be getting into people's hands. That's super, super important. Yeah, if they don't buy it, then they haven't bought it. It's a problem. So mall tours are going on local morning TV shows where, the moms are watching. So, God, this guy is such a fucking... Okay. Some of our celebrity endorsements are pretty huge. I can't tell you who they are, but the people like Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah, Dr. Phil, it'll be people like that. I don't think he's hired anyone yet.
When you think of video games, you think of Oprah and Dr. Phil. Not Conan O'Brien or Jimmy Fallon, who are known for presenting video games in their segments.
And then copy striking everyone else who's ever shown that video game. But on the competition, we'll be working on this for 2.5 years, and we always knew 10-10-2020 was our date. We're the only system that's coming out in 2020. Besides us is the Xbox. They don't even get a date. I don't think the PlayStation 5 will release next year. Maybe. I don't know. But the whole idea is that it's not what we're doing. They can come out with their $500 boxes all day for the 200 million hardcore gamers. We're totally fine with that.
All right. So for anybody who is...
Tommy! I love your enthusiasm, but what the fuck?
I mean, you have to admit, he is pretty enthusiastic about this new console, and we do know that the first game is going to be Earthworm Jim. So
okay, I'm getting it then, but at least I know when I'm buying it. But
yeah,
I'm still reeling from the over 600 years of experience.
We have over 600 years of video game experience.
I'm just like, okay, if you take that literally, obviously it doesn't add up. Even if you're calculating the number of years each individual people, have worked on, in the video game industry, like even then, I'm still like, how many people are working on this thing?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, this should be really interesting. So not only do we have the Stadia,
This
but we
looks
also
kind
have
of like the only video game system perfect for your bathroom. And if you don't count the Switch, I guess.
I guess not. All right. So yeah, that's it for video game stuff. We'll talk about other stuff some other time. But let's talk about some other game. I mean, not other games, other movies and TV news. So here's some stuff that has been revealed. One of which was which finally, for we've been waiting for this for over a year ever since its announcement. We have Rob Zombie's sequel to The Devil's Rejects 3 from Hell, and it has a teaser trailer. So I'm just gonna pull that up. And I believe it's my turn to read, so I will take a look into that.
Go for it.
Okay, so Rob Zombie frees the 3 from Hell teaser trailer. At long last, Rob Zombie has released the teaser trailer for 3 from Hell, as highly anticipated sequel to his directorial debut, House of a Thousand Corpses, and its follow-up, The Devil's Rejects. Captain Spaulding by Sig Haig, Otis by Bill Moseley, and Baby by Sherry Moon Zombie will be returning from the dead in 3 from Hell after being shot hundreds of times in the final moments of Rejects. Spoilers. We're told that Richard Blake has a starring role alongside the trio. While the teaser trailer doesn't give us any new information, we do get a hell of a one-liner from Otis, and we get to see Baby acting wacky, free the 3. The cast also includes Danny Trejo, Kevin Jackson, Wade Williams, Jeff Daniel Phillips, Clint Howard, Pancho Muller, Emilio Rivera, Daniel Roebuck, David Uri, Sean Whalen, Austin Stoker, Dee Wallace, Bill Orbs Jr., Richard Rail, Dot Marie Jones, and Tom Papa. 3 from Hell has been rated R for strong sadistic violence, language to arouse, sexual content, graphic nudity, and
I think that's Richard Riley. Wasn't he the guy that did the voiceover on the cars in Jurassic Park?
Maybe.
They spared no expense.
The teaser promises a fall 2019 release. So there you go. There's your teaser trailer, and you can go watch it if you're interested.
Okay, so then...
It's safe for me to look back again.
Yes.
There weren't any dolls this time, Creepy. Patricia, do you have any dolls?
No, I don't think so. And there's no Chucky news, so I think you're okay.
Really? Because there's a lot of people who they showed the new Chucky look, and so many people are saying so much about him. And
I mean, we already talked enough about Chucky. I think that the only thing we do need to talk about is when eventually the movie comes out. So, I mean, unless they're revealing some new plot points that differ from the TV series that the creator of the Child's Play series is going to be involved in, I don't think there's really much to say. So, but I do want Creepy to read this one though. So, yes, I think I know. I think you know what I'm talking about. We're having a comeback with the Spice Girls in their new animated movie.
So I guess now Photoshop wasn't doing it anymore.
You've talked about Spice World many times before, Creepy. I think you deserve to read this.
I brought it up during a Gem retrospective review, and that was the Starbright 3-parter. All 5 minutes.
Yeah, but you did review the movie. Come on, you want to do it.
All 5 members of the iconic 90s group are on board as the studio reveals new release dates. Paramount Animation president Muriel Soria, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, is bringing girl power to the unit. Literally, the studio, which boasts a mostly female senior staff, is in early development on a Spice Girls movie, among a slate eyeing 2 releases a year, starting in 2020. All 5 members of the
just the ad popping up just then is like, huh? That face, and it's like, honestly.
All 5 members of the iconic 90s group: Melanie Brown, Scary Spice; Emma Bunton, Baby Spice; Melanie Chisholm, Sporty Spice; Jerry Halliwell, Ginger Spice; and Victoria Beckham, Posh Spice, are on board, with Simon Fuller producing and Karen McCullough and Kiwi Smith writing the screenplay.
Corey 2000 asks, what is scarier, Chucky or the Spice Girls?
Well, everybody knows what my answer is, so I don't think it counts. It's not the one that he's looking for anyway.
Well, in this case, there's like 5 plastic people.
We're gonna get the Bratz movie that we've always wanted.
The animated feature will include Spice Girls classics as well as new songs. The Spice Girls had an idea that we've been developing, Soria says, The Hollywood Reporter. They are very involved. Gee, that's not vague. I can remember when they did this big...
John Ratsey saying, please go to something other than these things called Spice Girls.
Well, just give us a minute.
So just give an idea. Don't have to read out every single line in every single paragraph.
Okay, fine. But hey, okay, so just...
I mean, hey, you guys get to torture me with stuff, so now it's in favor. Meanwhile, May 2020 released the SpongeBob movie. It's a wonderful sponge.
Oh, wait, I think that was finished because.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna double check. Yeah, that was it for the Spice Girls stuff. So I guess they decided to just combine all this stuff together for all their Paramount films. So yeah.
Come for the Spice Girls, stay for the SpongeBob.
Yes. It's actually funny because originally the third SpongeBob movie was actually going to have a Ren and Stimpy short, and I guess they were like, hey, let's put Spice Girls because why not? And now it's time for what I think is going to be like the most really awkward and really weird bit of news that I found this week. So,
oh crap! You didn't check my search history, did you?
No. I not the other weird stuff. So, remember last time that we talked about that Robert Pattinson was Batman, and I was showing you guys the petition of when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman, and everybody was like freaking out, and everybody was saying like
the actual petition that they went door to door and got real signatures for.
Yes. Yes, and then eventually everybody loved the Michael Keaton performance, and now we saw the
petition to bring Michael Keaton back.
Yeah, in fact.
Okay, so if people got what they wanted, and if they were the ones deciding, no, we cannot have Michael Keaton as Batman, then there were other choices. One of which was our good friend, and I want Decker to read this because I think it's hilarious.
I know I remember the article when you sent it. God, no.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I was like, really? No.
If I'm torturing Creepy with Spice Girls, I have to torture you with this. So yes, we are getting. So at one point, we would have gotten Steven Seagal as Batman / Bruce Wayne in Tim Burton's Batman. Yes.
With Gotham's cape and cowl entering its 9th pair of hands with Robert Pattinson, it's difficult to imagine anyone else playing the Batman roles from the past. In fact, one particular incarnation of the character that never really has been questioned is that of Michael Keaton from the Tim Burton classic films. But according to Batman, screenwriter Sam Hamm, Warner Brothers was doing just that. In a recent interview with Sci-Fi Wire, Hamm explained that the studio wanted to take a different approach with the character early on. There are a lot of people at Warner Brothers who wanted to cast it with an action star. They wanted to cast the part as Batman as opposed to casting it as Bruce Wayne. The role eventually went to Keaton, who worked with the director just the year before on Beetlejuice. Hamm went on to explain the logistics on how to cast the Caped Crusader correctly, yet in doing so mentioned another actor whose name was being tossed around in conversation. Action star Steven Seagal. You have to make Bruce Wayne work because Batman is, for the most part, going to be a stunt guy or going to be somebody running around in a costume in a long shot. You don't need the martial arts experience of, say, Steven Seagal or somebody like that just because you can fake all that kind of stuff. Seagal was one of the people who was suggested to us. Believe it or not, he had just kind of appeared on the scene. People thought, holy cow, this guy's badass. He could be Batman, Hamm said. I don't think it ever got to the point where he had read for it. He was just one of the names that was floated. Whew.
Yeah.
Though it appears The martial artist and above-the-law star never actually auditioned. Keaton's casting was famously controversial. Though mostly for comedic roles, critics argued that his past work made him miscast in the first serious Batman. But the Mr. Mom actor was right in line with the fresh look Ham and Burton envisioned for the character. Bruce Wayne is a guy who has made a sort of crazy career decision, is the way we put it. A bad thing happened to him a long time ago, Ham said. He was rich, he came into possession of great wealth. He had no apparent authority figure in his life except his employee. As far as everybody knows, there's a top-up. But also, the guy who raised Bruce Wayne was his butler, so if the butler says, Master Bruce, this is crazy, you can't put on a suit and go out and fight crime, then Bruce could just say, Alfred, you're fired. I'll find another butler. So he didn't have any kind of steadying influence on him. You gotta get over this. You gotta put this behind you and figure out something productive to do with your life. He was just able to sort of nurse his wound over all these years. In the end, things obviously worked out for Keaton's Bruce Wayne. Batman went on to gross over $400 million and on a $305 million budget. And then he returned for Batman Returns 3 years later, though the experience wasn't as fruitful.
Yeah. Yeah, so we could have had Steven Seagal as Batman.
And Jacob Kennedy 2002 on Twitch says, "Oh, fuck Patterson and just hire Keaton, for God's sake!" But Raptoid251 on Twitch says, "Give him a chance, but I don't have a lot of hope for this."
Well, I'm just gonna wait until, maybe like we see a trailer, and then I'll give my thoughts. As of now, I'm not gonna say anything.
And Demon Orc says, "I will give Patterson a chance, but reserve the right to make jokes about his Twilight role." And Jacob Kennedy 2002 responds on Twitch, "Twilight has a CGI baby! The fuck?"
I mean, what about it is, I mean, it's not as if Michael Keaton's, career before he played Batman. I mean, Batman is what everybody remembers him for, but it's not as if he, like every role that he took before then, was spotless. So,
I just want to say, Jacob Kennedy, 2002, deep breaths. Oos fraba.
Relax.
Oos fraba. But it is funny. It is funny with all the talk on Michael Keaton as Batman, and he's the Mr. Mom guy. Because growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, all I knew Michael Keaton as was Batman. I had no fucking idea about Mr. Mom, and I still to this day, whenever anyone brings up Mr. Mom, I still get confused for a second. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a movie I never saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And my Brian Martin asks, speaking of Sci-Fi Wire, any thoughts on the Banana Splits horror movie? Which I actually do have an article for, by the way, and I will take...
Sorry, it's Jacob Kennedy 2002. Just get a goddamn real baby! They're being born every damn day!
They're not wrong.
They're not. Oh my god. And now the real Mullins is like, why did you have to bring up that damn baby? Oh my god. All right. I'll take this one. So the Banana Splits horror movie gets solid R rating. So we talked about this before. For those who are wondering, the Banana Splits is based off of Sid and Marfie Croft children's series from like the 60s or 70s or something. And it was for kids. But now they're bringing it back and they're making it into a horror movie akin to Five Nights at Freddy's. In fact, I think I even heard a rumor once that when the creator Scott Cawthon was like writing a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and then when he jumped shipped over to another movie studio, apparently that they decided that maybe this script that he never did would be converted over to a Banana Splits horror movie. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, I would not be surprised.
Crazier things have happened.
For sure.
Like the Halo movie is getting scrapped, and every single time it gets scrapped, it gets turned into a different movie.
Yeah. It's not often I read a sentence that has so many confusing elements in one place, but as I wrote the headline for this article, I admit I was a little stumped. Confusing or no, it seems that the Banana Splits, based off the popular Sid and Marty Krofft children's series, has been made into a rated R horror film set for the later release this year. For those unfamiliar, the show was hosted by a costume quartet made of Fleagle the Beagle on guitar and vocals, Drooper the Lion on bass, Bingo the Gorilla on drums, and Snorky the Elephant on keyboards. The group would present a variety of songs, cartoons, and skits to a live action audience with the Krofft brothers' signature brand of fantastic humor. The new film, directed by Danishka Esterhazy Blackfield, centers on a boy named Harley and his family who attended a taping of the show of his birthday. Things go awry, however, and was meant to be a celebration but became a fight for survival, aka Five Nights at Freddy's. The project, created by Warner Brothers and the Sci-Fi Network, was first reported by Deadline in February this year. Early today, MovieWeb reported that the film received its R rating. It's hard to escape the Five Nights at Freddy's feel, the setup of the film, and honestly, we can't wait to see how they morph their popular children's show into a horror show. It will receive a home video release following the television debut on Sci-Fi. And I did see the trailer that way, and yeah, I am getting like huge Five Nights at Freddy's vibes all over.
I was about to say, is anyone besides me getting Five Nights at Freddy's vibes from here? Yeah. Like, they didn't want to pay royalties for Five Nights at Freddy's, but they could get this somehow cheaper. So they were like, okay, let's just do that instead.
Yeah, and it's just a coincidence that this is done by Warner Brothers, and Scott Cawthon was actually doing the Five Nights at Freddy's movie over there right before he jump shipped over to Blumhouse Pictures. So, I mean, if the rumor of that being an original script that was never done true, then, like I said, I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's look at this, and like, I'm just like, what part of this is not Five Nights at Freddy's? Since they're billing, well, even if they don't bill it as a horror movie, that's what's going to go through your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, some more news. We got another reboot to a classic horror movie, because of course we do.
Yeah.
And which is it going to be this time? Well, let's take a look at what many people fondly remember as one of the earlier slasher films. We're going to be talking about Black Christmas. Blumhouse Studios is working on this one. So, Creepy, it's your turn.
Did they do this? I mean, I'll get on the article, I promise. But I'm like,
Sure.
Didn't they do this back in 2006?
Maybe they did. I don't know, but we'll take a look more into it in the article.
Okay. The Little Shop of Horrors, that is Blumhouse, would like to continue refurbishing your classics on the heels of 2018's Halloween, and the news that Zoe Lister-Jones will be overseeing its reboot of The Craft, because that's a movie everyone wanted to see remade. The studio announced today that it's developing a new Black Christmas, based on the landmark 1974 Canadian slasher film Black Christmas, such as sorority girls who are still at their house just before the Christmas holiday, which is kind of terrifying in and of itself, but, well, never mind.
Sure.
The tree is topped and the tinsel is hung with care, and there's also a killer on the loose picking off co-eds one at a time. So a typical Christmas on campus. Sophia Takal, who broke out with... Oh, sorry.
The Nestine 100 says they already did a remake and fracked it up.
Yeah, it says it right there in the article. Creepy will read into it later.
Okay.
Right. Broke out with their thriller Always Shine and helmed the Blumhouse Into the Dark feature New Year, New You from 2018. Will direct, and she co-wrote the script with sometimes Vulture contributor April Wolfe. The announced cast includes the permanently underrated Imogen Poots.
Yes, that is her name.
Oh, girl. Okay, one, if that is your real name, you should have gone the way of every other Hollywood celebrity and changed it. If you changed it to Poots, what the hell was your last name before?
Maybe it's pronounced Potts.
Okay. Okay, there is no way that you were going to look at that and not Poots.
Yeah, you remember that there was like a commercial from a few years ago about a guy, his name was spelled Dumass, and he was getting he was being interviewed for a job, and he's like, well, Mr. Dumbass, I have these qualities and blah 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 blah, and he kept calling him that, and then the boss looks up to him and says, my name is pronounced Dumas.
Right.
It's Dumas. It's rich.
But I am sorry, but the inner 8-year-old in me is having a field day. Elise Shannon, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Brittany O'Grady and Caleb Eberhards. Black Christmas is a genre classic that laid the groundwork for more widely heralded horror films that came after, including John Carpenter's original Halloween from 1978. It's a straightforward. It got a straightforward remake in 2006 that was really just okay, but it sounds like Takal and Wolf's treatment will adhere more to the reboot structure. The teaser provided says the killer is about to discover that this generation's young women aren't willing to become hapless victims as they mount a fight to the finish. And yes, we do welcome this premise in the new era of femme vengeance. Maybe rephrase that just a little bit, but okay. Let's hope at some point, though, the call will be coming from inside the house. We'll find out when the movie hits theaters on December 13th later this year.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, like, oh, but they did this movie in 2006. Why? So
I do remember the commercial for it in 2006, and that's about all I can tell you.
Okay. Also, the Live and Wired poll has finished up just seconds ago. Awesome. And for a long time, it was a 3-way tie for second place. It was just broken at the last bit. So, in last place, with after 49 total votes, 14% of the vote and 14% of the vote for tied for third or fourth, depending on how you look at it, we have Angry Todd Howard and Spooky Ikumi Nakamura. Just barely ahead of those two, at 18%, Professional Bowser. And coming in at a whopping 53%, easily taking the crown, Breathtaking Keanu.
Yes.
And we got
not disappointed.
Got a few comments. Kat tells me that I forgot the cute puppy during one of the conferences. Kevin Burdine says Fallout 76 Todd Howard's half-ass apology for 76 and the addition of NPCs in the game. And Humble Canuck DM says Keanu might be breathtaking, but she was spooky cute.
All right. So I think that, with that said, let's go over to our next bit of news. So this one is actually really interesting because a lot of people were, giving me this particular article to, discuss more about, and that is about Miramax. Because apparently Miramax is not doing very well, and they are actually thinking about having a huge sale that could impact their franchises that they just so happen to own. So I'm just going to pull this up right now. All right. Yeah. Miramax reportedly for sale, which could impact Halloween and Scream franchises.
Well, shit.
Yeah. So, Dicker, it's your turn.
Here's a potentially huge story that's been flying under the radar. Last week, Variety wrote that Qatar-based Bain Media Group is seeking to sell up to 50% of Miramax in a deal that would value the studio founded in 1979, Bob and Harvey Weinstein, at $650 million. Currently, Bain owns the company in its entirety. The story comes straight from Wall Street Journal report. It is important for horror fans, as Miramax is one of the main rights holders of the Halloween franchise, which occurred after it was exiled from its first grasp of Weinstein Company's Dimension Films 3 years ago. Had this not happened, it's quite possible the franchise would still be tied up in a reshuffling of Dimension and Lantern's acquisition of the Weinstein Company. Speaking of, Miramax is also tied to the franchise rights of Scream, which also resides at Lantern Dimension Films. The third season of the TV series has been completed for quite some time, but appears to be held up after Netflix terminated an output deal. We're not sure how this potential sale would impact both franchises, but it's worth noting that this is something to keep our eyes on. If Universal Pictures were to acquire Miramax, it would make it much easier to expedite sequels to Halloween, and a new suitor could have an interesting impact on what happens with Scream. We reached out to a handful of sources in hopes to get some intel. Until then, we'll watch for any more information as it comes in.
Okay. So, yeah. Now, if this were to happen, which studio would you like to see own the Halloween series and Scream?
New Line Cinema.
Okay.
I feel like I feel like New Line Cinema is the one best suited for it, or at least it used to be. Like, I mean, then again, my mind goes to why not just give it to Disney? They own everything else. I mean, can you imagine a Freddy Krueger movie that has Disney's name on it?
Yeah, technically, didn't Disney used to own Friday the 13th?
I think maybe on a technicality.
Because isn't Paramount Disney?
I don't think so. I think Paramount is... I don't think Paramount is Disney. I'll have to double check that.
I'm trying to remember which company is it that's technically Disney, but it is for Disney making things that aren't Disney.
Decker, it's Touchstone.
Oh, it's the other one with the rock.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's the other one with the rock. I'm a smart man. I review movies.
Yeah. No, Touchstone was created by Disney because they had all these scripts for...
okay. Padak saying...
I found it. Yeah, Paramount is owned by Viacom.
Yeah, okay, that's what Padak just said in the chat.
Right, yeah. But Touchstone, Disney wanted to make movies that didn't fit in with their family-friendly label, so they created Touchstone so that, they could be swept aside under there and say, it's not really Disney, not really. So, and they still make money off of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a rock. It's a big freaking rock. There you go.
I mean, This is why Jungle to Jungle was basically a PG movie, but it was rated PG-13.
Yes, for sure.
They're still rated according to Disney's sensibilities. So if it has cursing in it, oh no, PG-13.
Oh no, he said darn. Yeah, oh, PG-13. Yeah.
I mean, meanwhile, if in the mid to early 80s, if you had darn in a movie, and if you told someone from back then that the word darn was going to get something slapped with a PG-13 rating, they would have looked at you as like, the hell goes on in the next 30 years? And then we just rolled our eyes and go say, oh, have we got stories to tell you?
Yes.
Padak says, Touchstone never copyright strike channels to their deaths. That's the other rock.
That's the
other rock. Yes. All right. Just a few more. So I have...
Sorry, real quick. I apologize.
No, go ahead, please.
Michael Bornstein says, creepy is always right. Remember that, Decker.
I was trying to ignore that comment, but
I hope that makes up for interrupting you, Patricia. Go right.
No, it's fine. It's fine. All right, so let's get down to some other news. So this one is actually really interesting. I want Creepy to read this one. So yeah, we finally have some information regarding about a certain movie that I know that you probably would be looking forward to. We have finally some guests and celebrities and singers for the upcoming Steven Universe movie.
Woohoo!
Yay! So I thought that it would be appropriate that you would read this. So go ahead.
Okay. Chance the Rapper, Estelle, Patty Lupone, Uzo Aduba, Gallant, and Amy Mann are among the bold-faced names contributing music to Steven Universe, the movie, a musical version of the Cartoon Network series returning this fall. It's a musical animated series, so that's not really a... Never mind. The music-filled adventure for Steven and his friends will mark his first television movie. Steven thinks his time defending the Earth is over, but when a new threat comes to Beach City, Steven faces his biggest challenge yet. His other biggest challenge yet. Steven Universe the movie is executive produced by Cartoon Network Studios and Rebecca Sugar. Chance the Rapper co-executive produces with Kat Morris, Joe Johnston, Alonzo Ramirez Ramos, and Ian Jones Quarty. Yeah.
Also, Reaper of Vengeance just dropped $5 in a super chat. No comment, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
The full list of music collaborators and performances with original songs by Rebecca Sugar in collaboration with... There's a lot of collaboration. Chance the Rapper, Estelle, Gallant, Amy Mann, Avian Sirasu.
Yeah, they're the ones who actually composed the music for Steven Universe.
Okay. Jeff Liu, James Fauntleroy. I said Font, not Fart. Mace Stewart, Mike Kroll, Jeff Ball, Grant Henry, Julian Zorsi Sanchez. A lot of these now. I'm gonna if everybody really wants to read these, they can.
Yeah.
The Steven Universe the movie will arrive on DVD later in the year. There will also be an accompanying movie soundtrack released digitally, plus a physical soundtrack version. Steven Universe the movie was created by Emmy and Annie Award nominated writer and New York Times bestselling author Rebecca Sugar, and produced by Cartoon Network Studios. Episodes of Steven Universe are available on Cartoon Network, the CN app, and VOD.
Yep.
Sorry, but no, I wasn't going through another list of names.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Welcome to Live and Wired episode 40, Reading a Phone Book.
Yeah, I would like to say goodbye to the people of New York City individual.
Mr. Smith's dry cleaning service. I actually met Estelle last year at a convention, and she was actually pretty cool. She was like one of the highlights of the convention when there was like a bunch of people from Steven Universe who were there. I met her. I met Margot Hall, and I think Zach Callison, who plays as Steven. So I actually have a picture of me and my cousin with Estelle on my phone. If you want to take a look, it's right here.
That is awesome.
So yeah, she was actually really cool. It's actually this was the last convention that I went to in Florida right before I moved. So
John Ratchey says, "Quick, get them a phone book."
Yeah. No, please don't. All right, but yeah, it's actually funny because I remember that they were announcing an Adventure Time movie around the time in which when the series was just ending, but I haven't heard anything yet. And we already had the regular show movie, which only was released had limited release in California, and then it was released on TV and DVD, I think. And now they're going to have Steven Universe. I think that it's either that this is going to be a big film to kind of like tie up what the series had kind of concluded, or maybe this is going to be like a leadway into like a new, season of Steven Universe. I'm not sure, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Okay, so let's see if there's any. Decker, I want you to read this one because this one actually happened. The article just came out like a few weeks ago, but I thought it would be really interesting. So you remember once upon a time before Godzilla made it into America, there were talks about a different Godzilla film.
I know what article you're talking about. As one where it came up and I was like, "What's this? Hello to Tink?"
Yes. Let me just bring it up right now. So we have Godzilla 94. Could have been a great American Godzilla film from Comic Book Resources or CBR.com. So go ahead.
Roland Emmerich's 1998 American Godzilla film, which arrived to negative reviews and is considered a box office disappointment, was not the first planned adaptation of the classic kaiju series. The first movie, pitched in the early 1990s, is fairly enigmatic. Despite how far along the movie was in pre-production before the project was ultimately canned, most people don't know anything about the film. But had this Godzilla movie been made rather than the Emmerich film, it's possible the kaiju's American presence would have been fairly well established as early as 1994. The original American Godzilla could have been great.
Yeah. It could have been amazing.
The project history. Pre-production started after Toho sold the rights to produce an American Godzilla film to TriStar Pictures, a subsidiary of Sony, in 1992. The script was written by Terry Rossio and Ted Elliott, who had already penned Little Monsters and Aladdin. The two later went on to write Shrek and several Pirates of the Caribbean films, and Rossio wrote the upcoming Godzilla vs. Kong. The script caught the attention of Jan de Bont, an industry veteran who had just finished his directorial debut, Speed. Okay. De Bont brought in Sam Winston, the special effects genius behind the films Aliens, The Terminator, and the then-upcoming Jurassic Park, to design the monsters. Although production ended early, Winston did have time to develop prototypes of what iteration of the character would have looked like, electing for a design identical to that of classic Godzilla. The plan may have even seen Winston employ some of the groundbreaking techniques he used to bring the dinosaurs to life in Jurassic Park. And here's a picture of Stan Winston's unused Godzilla design from '94. It's a white screen.
I'm going to see if I can. Here we go. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, so he's definitely more realistic than the Godzilla of Japan around the same time period. This is after the Heisei Godzilla, so he's got more muscular definition. He's got the reverse joints in the feet, and yeah, his arms look more weighted and arm-like. But he's still got the same proportions and basic body structure as Godzilla.
Right.
Yeah. All right, that should be enough. So let's continue.
The studio had so much confidence that the film would end up being made that it released a teaser in Japan, despite the fact that production hadn't even started. And
Yes,
the teaser is pretty much just text saying, "America has Godzilla. Prepare your anus for American Godzilla." And then a silhouette of the Godzilla design.
He's not wrong, by the way.
So why didn't the movie get made? Budget. Sony and TriStar estimated the script would cost between 140 and 180 million to produce. Despite DeBont insisting that he could produce the film for only 100 million, the studio threw a fit when it concluded the absolute lowest budget for the film was 120 million. This, Sony and TriStar claimed, was far too much. The studio continued to interfere, which led DeBont to conclude that the issue wasn't really budgetary, but rather studio execs meddling with the film. DeBont left the project the day after Christmas in 1994, resulting in Godzilla entering development hell. The script was revised by Don McPherson in 1995, but all of that was tossed out when Emmerich was brought on. Emmerich's film ended up costing about 135 to 150 million, which raises some questions about Sony's previous budgetary issues.
Right.
For sure.
The revised script had since leaked online, and there's a free graphic novel adaptation by Todd Tennant and Aiden Ardiente. To summarize, the film opens with the discovery of Godzilla in the Arctic, dislodged from the ice after bleeding strange, blood-like fluid into the ground. Godzilla's awakening causes an earthquake that kills several people. The surviving scientists investigate the earthquake to find out what happened. They discover Godzilla was worshipped by the Atlanteans, whose society sank under the Arctic ice. Doo-doo-doo. Scroll, please. Okay. Godzilla was created to combat probes belonging to an alien race sending monsters to colonize planets for them. Think EDF meets Saiyans. Godzilla was created from dinosaur genetic material, but was suspended until the probe could return to unleash destruction on Earth. At the same time, an alien probe lands in Utah. The probe assimilates bats and other life forms, starting with animals before carrying off people. It viciously assimilates biomatter and transforms into an entity known as the Griffin, a gigantic beast with the body of a cougar, wings of a bat, and the tongue of a snake. Godzilla travels to San Francisco, causing mass destruction along the way. However, he collapses south of the Golden Gate Bridge. The military collects Godzilla and manages to revive him. Godzilla and the Griffin, drawn to one another, meet in New York City, where a colossal three-way battle between Godzilla, the Griffin, and the U.S. military ensues. The battle ultimately ends when the Griffin, distracted by 4th of July fireworks, is sliced open by Godzilla's fins. Gotta keep the celebrations going. Gored and disemboweled, Godzilla then bites through the Griffin's neck, burns its body, and mounts the head on top of the Statue of Liberty's torch. Totally badass! That script sounds awesome, and reminiscent in many ways to the 2014 Godzilla film that was eventually made. So, what happened? Roland Emmerich and Dean DeVellin happened. The two joined the project reluctantly and just hated everything being done with the film. To quote Emmerich, "It was a very well-written script. It had some really cool things in it, but it's something I never would have done. The latter half was like watching two creatures go at it. I simply don't like that." So Emmerich threw all of that out to make his film, which he likened more to a disaster film than a monster movie. Because of that decision, he essentially provided the world with a decent monster film, but a horrendously disappointing Godzilla movie. If Sony's producers just stuck with the original plan, they would have made a cheaper, better movie that could have spawned a trilogy of films, as the 1994 movie would have better captured the style and feel of the Japanese films, helping Americans learn to love the Land of the Rising Sun's most iconic kaiju. Patricia, you're still muted. Or did I mute you accidentally? Or did you mute yourself? I don't think I can mute. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. So, that would have been really interesting if that would have happened. Sounds very convoluted, but it would have been interesting.
A French name on Twitch says, "Who was supposed to make this film? That was supposed to be TriStar.
Yeah.
They had that in their hands. That was the plan, and they were like, no, too expensive. We got to change this. We got to change that." Until the director was like, "Screw it, I'm out of here." And then they brought in Emmerich, and he's like, "Throw everything away. I got a great idea." And that idea was Godzilla 1998.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What could have been? Speaking of what could have been, we have another scrapped movie that sounded really interesting, but was just scrapped for something else.
He says it's too over the top, so I think he might have meant that in order to actually pull that off, it was just a little out of reasonable expectations for 1994.
Fair enough. All right, so this one's for Creepy. So we would have had an X-Men spin-off film featuring the Beast, but that was scrapped in favor for the other X-Men films that came out later. So go ahead, Creepy. This one's for you.
Thank you. John Ottoman, whose credits include X2 and Days of Future Past, details the pitch for a Hank McCoy spin-off and why Fox and filmmaker Simon Kinberg declined to read it. What if Beast had his own spin-off movie?
Thick Black Daddy asks, why can't we just pretend Godzilla 98 doesn't exist? And honestly, most of us do.
Yeah. We just like to bring it up every once in a while.
I figured that tuna head wouldn't amount to much. Next. That was the question facing longtime X-Men editor and composer John Ottman, as he was finishing 2016's X-Men Apocalypse. His then assistant, aspiring screenwriter Brian Burton, came to him with the idea, and Ottman was skeptical that Beast, the bookish blue-furred X-Man played by Nicholas Hoult.
I'm sorry, on Twitch, Demon Orc said, so they brought in an idiot who threw out the beginnings of good stew for gruel. Gruel made from wood scrap.
But anyway, could carry his own movie. But when Burton said he could crank out a script in 2 weeks, the composer consented to let him try. Why not? If it was good, maybe he'd pass it along to the execs at Fox. I said, knock yourself out, but just know there's a 95% chance no one is ever going to make this, Ottman tells The Hollywood Reporter. After reading Burton's draft, Ottman was surprised to find himself believing a Beast movie could actually work. He came aboard to develop the project, making tweaks to the script and envisioning it as a $90 million budgeted spinoff that would also feature familiar characters such as Professor X and Wolverine, as well as a Danger Room sequence featuring the hate group Friends of Humanity. The late 80s-esque script, read it here, begins in a snow-covered Inuit village that's being stalked by a mysterious creature. We wanted it to have the tenor of John Carpenter's The Thing, where you are in this inhospitable environment, says Ottman. The script then cuts to Hank McCoy, who is living in the X-Mansion and is keeping his mutation in check with a special serum introduced in 2014's Days of Future Past. During a Danger Room sequence, it becomes apparent Hank is having trouble controlling his beastie nature as he nearly loses control. Early in the first act, we also learn Hank has been helping a scientist who has a similar mutation. Hank has provided the man with a sample of his serum, but things have taken a vicious turn. Hank goes in search of the man who he discovers has been terrorizing the Inuit village. The journey all leads to a showdown in which Hank teams up with Wolverine, whom Professor X has located using Cerebro. The very end of the film ends with a tag revealing the villain Mr. Sinister has been watching the proceedings. The idea was we would have Sinister as this multi-film villain orchestrating things, says Burton, who in addition to once working as Ottman's assistant, is a freelance contributor to THR. We wrote a late 80s outline of an Omega Red film where the idea is Sinister is testing the X-Men. Ottman first put fillers out to Fox and was informed that because the script used core X-Men characters such as Professor X and Beast, it would need the sign-off of Simon Kinberg, the filmmaker who was a key architect of Fox's X-Men plans and who was working on Dark Phoenix at the time. Uh-huh.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie. The one that was like rewritten every 5 minutes.
Yeah, he was working pretty hard on that.
Kinberg politely declined to read the script to avoid becoming unduly influenced.
They're walking in for the world premiere, and there's this guy walking in, and he's just scribbling down on this, and they try to stop him for an interview. He's like, "Sorry, still working on writing the movie." I got a great idea for a scene. It'll be wonderful. You'll love it.
Okay. Part of Kinberg's rationale was that he was thinking of reintroducing Wolverine back into the X-Men world following Hugh Jackman's retirement. So the use of Wolverine in any other movie would only muddy the waters. Ottman had no hard feelings, though. By this point, he'd become so attached to the idea that he would have pushed to direct the film himself had Fox been interested. Back when Ottman was reworking the script, he read it from an editor's point of view, trying to pinpoint areas he could believe could cause trouble down the road in post-production. He honed that editor's eye on the X-Men films, and last year earned an editing Oscar for Bohemian Rhapsody. It was always in my own self-interest to beg and plead to fix problems that could blow up in my face later. I was also writing 110 minutes of music. I could not afford to have a movie in post that had problems, says Ottman, of his days working on X-Men, X2, X-Men United, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. One such change Ottman pushed for came in Days of Future Past. In the original script, Raven comes back to the X-Mansion to talk to Charles early in the film, but as the entire plot hinged on the X-Men stopping Raven from assassinating the villain Bolivar Trask, Ottman worried the audience would be asking why the team didn't just capture her at that point in the film. He requested a rewrite after seeing the scene filmed, and it ultimately resulted in a scene in which Professor speaks to Raven remotely using Cerebro. I said, Raven has to be contacted by Charles. Maybe she's at a train station or something, and this is the way he communicates with her without her coming back. She has to be uncontained, recalls Ottman. Simon Kinberg wrote a scene with her in the airport. We did that while we were there during production. If
Giggity.
we had that... Huh?
Giggity.
If we had that realization back in LA during post, we would have had to shoot the entire airport sequence. That would have been massively expensive. Ottman and Bertman are sharing the script for Fear the Beast now for fun, as the 19-year-old X-Men saga comes to an end with last week's Dark Phoenix. Both note this was still an early draft and hope it will be judged as such. Had the film actually been made, it would have gone through many more iterations. The fact that we got a script in a few weeks is a testament to Brian. But at the same time, every script is ever-changing, says Ottman. As perfect as you think a script is, it will always dawn on you something is illogical or has to be redone. Read the Fear the Beast script here. The funny thing is, I remember when the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie came out in, I believe it was 2011, and or was it earlier than that? It may have been. It may have been as early as 2009.
I think it was 2009.
Okay, yeah.
Because 2011 would have been X-Men First Class.
Right. That was it. Right. But when X-Men Origins Wolverine came out, even before the movie premiered, there was like talk and rumors of like a X-Men Origins Cyclops movie and X-Men Origins Gambit, where, you got to see like all of the origin stories of the, of different singular X-Men before they became X-Men, and we saw a little bit of that in the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie when, Cyclops is helping, all these young mutants who are held hostage in the compound get out. And at the end of the tunnel, they run out and there's Xavier is there and he can walk at this point. And he basically carries them all off in a jet. So, but I remember there were talks like this before. So not as shocking as you might think, but.
Fair enough.
Also, I'm wondering. I hope he's still watching. I saw Thick Black Daddy was in the chat. Thick Black Daddy, you there? Thick Black Daddy, Thick Black Daddy, Thick Black Daddy. Yeah, because there's a Tales game coming out. You probably like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I guess we can go over to our next set of news. So, one more bit of that news right before we jump over to Bruce. So, this is one that I never thought that we would actually see. When I saw this article and I was like, really? And okay. So then eventually I decided to look more into it and I got this article. So we have another film by Ridley Scott. No, it's not Aliens. It is
Dang it.
actually his other. I know. We already talked about his
Or
evolution.
or
to
is
Alien.
it? Should I be upset? I don't know.
I don't know, to be quite honest. But let's see. We're finally, after many years, having the sequel to Gladiator. Because everybody asked for that. Gladiator 2 details revealed. Ridley Scott film to be set 25 years later. Because everybody wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
Gladiator 2 is still happening, but with some intriguing new details about the film.
Are you not patient?
Are you not entertained? You can't handle the truth. You had me at hello.
Draw me like one of your French girls. Okay. Last year, it was announced that Ridley Scott was set to direct a follow-up to his 2000 historical epic, adapting a script written by Peter Craig, whose next film is the forthcoming Top Gun sequel,
Got a
which
new
we did talk
follower,
about
Soul
last
Scythe.
year.
Welcome. He's following on Mixer.
Yeah. We actually did talk about the Top Gun sequel like
They
about
are
a year
following
ago.
on Mixer. Not sure.
Okay. Yeah, so go look at our previous episode of Live and Wire to know more about that. So go away. Okay, let's see. Nothing official is known about the film, though. Men in Black International producers Walter F. Park and Laurie McDonald have now confirmed when the film is going to be set to Hey You Guys. We're working with Ridley, McDonald said. That's one we wouldn't touch unless we felt in a way to do it was legitimate. We were working with an amazing writer as well, said Peter Craig. Peter continues, it picks up the story 30 years later, 25 years later. Okay, which is it, 30 or 25? You have 5 years gap.
It picks up the story 30 years later, 25 years later.
10 seconds later.
Yeah.
This would collaborate earlier
It's
reports.
been a while. I don't know.
Yeah, a long time ago. This would corroborates earlier reports that the story would focus on Lucius, the son of Lucilla and nephew of Commodus, characters played by Connie Nielsen and Joaquin Phoenix in the original. In recent years, Scott has returned to his Alien franchise, directing Prometheus in 2012 and Alien Covenant in 2017. His most recent film, All the Money in the World, came out in January 2018. Singer Nick Cave once wrote his own time travel sequel to Gladiator, which would have seen the Roman god resurrect Russell Crowe's character Maximus Decimus Meritus to fight against the persecution of Christians. Okay. So... yeah, we got some comments from people.
Some super chats.
Yeah, we have 1000 CLP from Bicentenario Gabriel, who says, can each one tell me if you have Chilean viewers?
Based on the currency, I'm guessing you.
I guess so.
But I probably, after you get a few thousand subscribers, you generally... not everyone who watches is subscribed as well, so there's a lot of different viewers coming in and seeing things. It was a lot easier way back when to actually check the map on YouTube and see where views are coming from and seeing, okay, lifetime views from everywhere. Click down the list of countries, and it actually was surprising how fast and how far things would spread, because I didn't have nearly as many subscribers as I had right now, back when that was a feature that was easy to use, and I was using it quite frequently just because I thought it was kind of fun, and I was seeing how many views were coming from so many countries. It's like every single country in the world, with only a couple of exceptions, like North Korea. There was no data for some reason. I don't know.
Okay. And a $5 comment from Maximo Loblo, who says, Dicker, I looked on your channels and didn't find anything, but have you ever talked about the Xenomorph and Predator's appearance in Mortal Kombat 10?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever produced a video talking about them, or ever actually made any kind of gameplay videos with Mortal Kombat X playing as them. So, yeah, I don't think... Did that come up as a topic on Live and Wired in the past? possibly
I
not,
think
because
I don't know. I mean,
that was so long ago that
yeah.
that kind of came up.
Mhm.
I remember talking about it. I think I know what it is. I think I know what I
Yeah.
remember is that I think there was some live streams / podcasts for the Patreon where I talked about it there, and it was just kind of a weird thing because I remember when they introduced the xenomorph, then they said, okay, but it's not a xenomorph based on a human, it's a xenomorph based on the kind of creature that Baraka is, and I'm like, well, then it's not really the same xenomorph as from the movies, then, is it? It's so I was that, but I don't think I ever actually sat down and talked about the Predator and their appearance in Mortal Kombat X.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go over to Creepy. This one, we have some more Batman news, and this time it's good news. So we have Batman, because of him being so iconic as a fictional superhero. By this time next year, or I believe the year after, he's going to be having a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
It better have a bat symbol on it somewhere, because otherwise,
I agree. That if it's like it needs to have a bat symbol.
I mean, I've been to the Walk of Fame. I know that the stars have a general kind of thing to them. It's like if you're an actor, they have a certain symbol for you. If you're a director, they have a certain symbol for you. But if it's Batman, he needs to have the bat symbol. It just has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Decker likes to brag that he's been to Hollywood and hung out with John Massari.
Yes.
Technically.
Anyway, Batman will receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Getting a star on the legendary Hollywood Walk of Fame is one of the highest honors that someone in the entertainment industry can achieve. As it turns out, even characters from fiction can be recognized for their contributions to pop culture. In that case, I want a Scooby-Doo spot on the Hollywood Walk of Fame next. Next year, Hollywood's best and brightest will be joined by none other than Bruce Wayne himself. Variety brings word that Batman will receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at a ceremony in 2020. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce Walk of Fame Selection Committee announced the full list of 2020 recipients earlier today. Other honorees include Julia Roberts, Spike Lee, 50 Cent, Octavia Spencer, Billy Idol, and Dave Chappelle. Ironically enough, Burt Ward, who starred as Robin on the 1960s Batman series, will be honored with his own star.
Good for him.
Good for him. MCU veterans Chris Hemsworth, Thor, Lawrence Fishburne, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Mahershala Ali, Luke Cage, also made the cut. And that, related. Batman purchases on the...
no, wait, that's not it. I was just like, that's pretty much it. So yeah.
You were like focusing on this, and I was like, okay.
No, I was just taking a look to see if that was actually relevant to anything, and it's like, oh yeah, no. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So Batman's finally getting a star. I mean, long overdue in my opinion. All right, so now we can go over to our next feature presentation, discussing about Bruce. So,
Bruce. That's the Bruce Wayne I want to see.
Yeah. So, Creepy talked about Bruce Wayne. You get to talk about Bruce the Shark.
Yay!
So, yay! All right, here you go.
Yay.
It's going to be a while before any fan gets to see Bruce in person. You're going to need a bigger boat, or rather, spot in a museum. Reference. The Academy Museum of Motion Pictures announced on Thursday that the sole surviving full-scale model from Jaws, the shark mold, has been fully transformed. The only details awaiting to be added are eyes and teeth. Nicknamed Bruce, the fiberglass model is the fourth and final version made from the original mold. It was not used in the film, but instead was created for display at Universal Studios. The 1975 Steven Spielberg classic is about a seemingly endless aquatic killing machine terrorizing a New England tourist town. It's common knowledge for Jaws fans that the production was plagued with difficulties, most of them revolving around the mechanical shark's constant malfunctioning. Just in time for the 44th anniversary of Jaws, 1975, an update on Bruce the Shark's restoration. Special effects legend G. Nicotero has His studio, K&B EFX, and the Academy Museum Conservation Team have fully transformed this undersea giant, the Academy Museum tweeted, as you can tell from all the damn hashtags. The shark was bequeathed to the museum in 2016 by Nathan Alden, whose father, Sam, acquired the prop after the studio scrapped Bruce along with a pile of old stunt cars. Sam Alden would display the Jaws shark at his junkyard. Still, it's going to be a while before any fan gets to see Bruce in person. It was also announced Thursday, one someday, a day ending in Y, the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures will not open in 2019 or any time prior to the 92nd Oscars on February 9th, 2020. The project was first announced in 2012. As we continue working through the permitting process and move closer to completion, we are weighing the overall schedule for major industry events in 2020, and on this basis, we'll choose the optimal moment for our official opening, an Academy Museum spokesperson said in a statement.
All right.
So we got a picture of Brucey there?
Yeah.
It's Brucey! Yeah!
It's Brucey! Yay!
Hooray!
Come on. There we go.
Yeah.
Here's Brucey.
Open up and say, ah. Can you see it yet, Doctor? I need a bigger flashlight. Grab for the spotlight.
Oh, there we go. There's the restored Bruce. Just like I said, it needs eyes and teeth, and it'll be all finished.
And a few beachgoers.
Yep.
Nom 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 nom.
All right. So there we go. There's our shark news.
Well, that's not quite the only shark news.
Oh no. Which one are you referring to?
It's just I've been working on the summer special now because I wanted to get the last review that I put up that didn't go up because copyright, and we're still waiting on copyright purgatory for that. I was trying to get that done so that I would have this mini review that I'm trying to do in between the start and the summer special, and that's done because it's not something that I can really do a big in-depth review of, but I need to do something a little more in-depth than the basic reaction review.
Okay.
But I wanted to have an actual big review out first, and so I've kind of been sitting on this for a while, which is unfortunate because the Bad CGI Sharks team, who you might remember from the Killer Clowns from Outer Space signing at Dark Delicacies, they showed up and showed off their movie poster to the Kyoto Brothers, and were very excited about how influential they've been and such. The movie is coming along and it's just about done, just about ready for release. I've got a screening of it to review.
Cool.
They sent it to me, which was very nice, and I want to do that, but I want to get a review that people want out first.
Fair enough.
So that's been delayed, unfortunately. But you can check out the trailer for Bad CGI Sharks on YouTube. And it's actually very easy. If you can't use YouTube, you can get it sent to you very easy. I found this out. Just go on Twitter when their Twitter guys around, and just make any tweet with the words "shark" and "movie" in it, and they will send you the link to the thing. They've had some little run-ins with someone saying, "I can't stand movies about sharks. It's one of my greatest fears," and they send them the link, and then they respond, "What is wrong with you?" So it's had some ups and downs for them, but it's kind of funny to follow their account on Twitter and see them respond to literally every tweet of anyone just saying "shark movie," and then they send them the trailer. But hey, there are a couple of really independent guys making it, so they gotta. I know you gotta beat the pavement in the modern world. That's how you do it on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's go over to our next set of news. So let's go over to some. I know that I said no more video game stuff, but I really wanted to bring this up because of something that happened recently on Reddit. Okay. So yeah, there was a Reddit survey that more than 52,000 people participated, and they were answering the age-old question, much more important than what's the meaning of life, and that is, what are the most popular Pokemon? Because everybody wanted to know. So
freaking Pikachu won. He's sitting there like, yeah, number one. Woo!
Yeah. Survey asking more than 50,000 Reddit users on Reddit Pokemon to choose their favorites has produced some impressive results. With more than 800 different Pokemon to choose from, each Pokemon receiving 65 votes on average. The original 151 was the most popular by far, with about 35% of the respondents choosing a favorite from Pokemon Red and Blue, because, of course. Only 4 Pokemon received no votes at all, and the most popular Pokemon only secured 2%.
Really?
Yeah, so Pikachu is nowhere in the top 25.
Okay.
Even with the Detective Pikachu movie, even with, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, Pikachu is not.
Pikachu got complacent.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, so let's just, I'm just gonna skip over all this stuff. So,
Goji Thriller 83 has joined us and says, "What did I miss? About 80% of the show."
Yes. Okay, so let's see. Right below the list is the 25 most beloved Pokemon based off of the survey, along with their Pokedex entries. Be sure to check out the original thread if you want to see the full results, which also sorts the Pokemon based on their types and what games they debuted in. For the sake of time, we're just going to look at the top 25. We're not going to go through 800 plus Pokemon.
Aww.
But yeah, I know. I'm sorry. So here we go. So number 25, it's a tie between Garchomp, Mudkip, and Garchomp and Mudkip. So, yes, let's see. It has 404 votes. It is a dragon.
Well, asking Reddit, of course, Mudkip.
Yeah, for Reddit. You have to remember this is from Reddit. When it folds its body and extends its wings, it looks like a jet plane. It flies at sonic speed. And of course, we have Mudkip, water type, votes 404 as well. The fin on Mudkip's head acts like a highly sensitive radar, using this fin to sense movements of water and air. It can determine which is taking place around without using its eyes. And then, of course, we have the whole, I heard you like Mudkip stuff. So there you go. Number 23 is Blastoise. It had 410 votes. Number 22.
Oh, yeah, that's higher. That's higher.
Yeah, that is higher.
Okay,
than
so you're going. Okay, so yeah. Okay. I can math.
Yeah. Okay. Number 22 is Scizor with 424 votes. Number 21 is Luxray with 429 votes. Number 20 is Torterra with 430 votes. The one that looks like if Gamera was a botanist. Number 19 is Snorlax with 433 votes.
That's my spirit animal right there.
Yeah. And actually based off of one of Game Freak's employees, if you could believe it. Yeah, he was known for like eating moldy food from the refrigerator, and then they decided to make a Pokemon based off of him.
Oh God!
So, yeah, I have to show you a picture of him. It's uncanny. Number 18 is Infernape, 443 votes. I think this is based off of like the Fiery Monkey King, if I can remember, or something else related to like a mythology. Yeah. Number 17 is Tyranitar. There's your Godzilla reference with 451 votes. Number 16 is Ninetales, obviously based off of the traditional Japanese nine-tailed fox. Mm-hmm. If you're a Naruto fan, you would know more a lot about this. So with 471 votes.
Real quick, got a $5 super chat from the Sock Monster saying, "Hey, Decker, first time donating. Really dig your reviews. Any chance we'll get one for Stargate from 1994? Went looking and was sad to find none." And yeah, that's not one that was blocked from copyright. That's one I actually haven't done yet. So,
cool.
And now I'm thinking, why haven't I? It's an obvious one to do.
I honestly, yeah. I mean, it does seem like something that you would do.
So chance very high, especially with you talking, and also the money helps. But that's not cut hairs here. I don't like cutting hairs.
Okay. Number 15 is Flygon with 510 votes. 14 is Squirtle with 523 votes. Number 13 is Ampharos with 529 votes. This one's one of my personal favorites. Number 12 is Typhlosion with 534 votes. Also another personal favorite of mine. Number 11 is Absol with 542
Where's
votes.
Parasect, you heathens?
Parasect is number 1.
I hope
I didn't
so.
want to spoil it. this is another personal favorite of mine. Number 10 is Dragonite with 551 votes. Number 9 is Eevee with 581 votes. So let me get this straight. So Pikachu is in the 2% of votes, and yet we have Eevee, who, actually had a video game recently, and it's more popular. I mean, I guess it makes a lot of sense because you could be able to evolve it into multiple Pokemon to your liking, but damn.
So it should have been Detective Eevee, in other words.
Yeah, oh man, yes, it should have been Detective Eevee. It would have been so cute. Number 8 is Gardevoir with 585 votes. Number 7 is Lucario with 604 votes. Another personal favorite of mine. Number 6 is Umbreon. There's our first evolution on the list. 607. Number 5 is Blaziken, 613. Number 4 is Bulbasaur, 710 votes. Wow, Bulbasaur got more votes than Squirtle and Blastoise. Very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Go Bulbasaur. Number 3 is Arcanine with 923 votes. That's actually pretty interesting because I remember Arcanine was called the legendary Pokemon. This was before we had Mew and Mewtwo, so it was seen as a mysterious creature. But now they're practically everywhere. So it's number 2 is Gengar with 1,056 votes. And finally, number 1, if it wasn't obvious, then sorry, it's Charizard with 1,107 votes. So, and then it talks about Pokemon Sword and Shield, but we already briefly talked about that. So yeah, obvious is obvious.
Oh, I'm a Charizard. I'm a fire flying type. You're a Parasect. You're a bug grass. I'm 4 times powerful to both your types. So, yeah.
Sorry, Decker. Anyway, I actually found the guy who was that they based Snorlax off of. He's a planner by the name of Koji Nishino. And this is actually, they have a picture of him and Snorlax together. So here you go. It's uncanny. It's look at this. They look exactly the same, down to the eyes. And so yeah, apparently he was known in Game Freak for eating moldy food from the fridge, and they gave him the nickname Kabi, which means mold, and that's what they named Snorlax in Japan. And I think there was even a reference in Black and White 2 if you go over to the Game Freak headquarters, and he's there talking about Snorlax is based off of me or something. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, how many people can you say it's oh yeah, Snorlax is based off of me? It's oh, what's the matter, Yuri Geller? You don't like the fact that Kadabra is based off of you? Oh, being a part of pop culture, icon or something. It's
I'm a Tangela.
Now that I think about it, yeah, for sure. Oh, this one's actually pretty hilarious. I thought that this was actually funny when this actually happened just a few hours ago that I found this. So I believe that we talked about Good Omens a while ago. That was the series that Neil Gaiman was a part of, and there's a lot of people wanting to have it banned or removed from Netflix, but there's a problem. It's not a Netflix exclusive. It's an Amazon exclusive. So, yes, we have people petitioning to say remove Good Omens from Netflix, even though it's not even a Netflix series. And then Netflix UK and Ireland were saying okay, we promise not to make any more, even though they never made it. We gotta love people sometimes. All right, so Creepy, it's your turn.
Alrighty then. Good Omens has become an ever-growing part of the pop culture consciousness since it debuted last month, and it looks like some hilarious side effects. A petition began to make the rounds online earlier this week, which saw over 20,000 Christians demanding that the series be canceled due to its blasphemous imagery. The only problem with that petition was addressed to Netflix, despite the fact that the series is actually distributed by Amazon Prime. The official account for Netflix UK and Ireland has since responded to the petition by saying that they promise not to make any more.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Too hard for them to follow through.
Demon Orc on Twitch is asking what? So we have stupid people not able to tell what network is what? It's no. You see, the issue is none of them were watching it in the first place. So
Which is not as surprising to me as you might think, because I grew up with this kind of thing. In recent days, the petition has since been edited to accurately mention Amazon Prime, but the jokes about the blunder have still remained. Good Omens showrunner and co-author Neil Gaiman even caught wind of the petition, arguing that it says it all, really. The petition,
Okay, sure.
Side Assault says, as a Christian, this whole situation makes me cringe.
The petition was put into place by Return to Order, a group that calls upon Americans to put principles in action.
No One Special says, wow, they were successful. Good Omens is not on Netflix.
Probably, undoubtedly, this is the most successful campaign they've ever had.
Yes.
The petition was put into place by Return to Order, a group that calls upon Americans to put principles into action by working towards what is called an organic Christian society. According to The Guardian, previous petitions for the group have put Walmart into its crosshairs after it sold a blasphemous ice cream chain called Sweet Jesus.
10 out of 10.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. If they had been the ones selling the ice cream called Sweet Jesus, it wouldn't have been blasphemous. Like, I think they're mad because they didn't think of that money from it, so they're trying to shut it down. Okay. In a way, the absurdity of the petition falls in line with the energy of the original novel, which imagines the end times with a delightful amount of twists and turns. The novel was originally written by Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, the latter of whom died before getting to see the story adapted onto the screen. Pratchett said, "You have to make it because you're the only other person who has the same passion for and understanding for Good Omens I do, and I want to watch it," Gaiman explained to CNET earlier this year. "I said okay, and then he died, which suddenly turned it into a last request." Good Omens follows Azra.
Got a couple of things. Rarin Mender 8586 is now following on Mixer. Welcome. Also, Dyro11 says, I'm a Christian and I like this show. It's just a damn show.
Help me out here. Azraphale?
Azraphale?
Yeah, okay.
Let's do that.
We'll go with Azraphale because it rolls off the tongue easily.
Sure.
And Crowley, David Tennant, no less, an angel and a demon who set out on a mission to locate the misplaced 11-year-old Antichrist days before the apocalypse is about to kick off. Wasn't there a similar movie called Dogma, except it had Jay and Silent Bob in it?
And there were a couple of fallen angels, pretty much.
Yeah.
They were punished by they had to live in New Jersey,
and
then until the end of time, and then after the world ends, they just have to sit outside the gates of heaven for eternity. And they found a loophole to get back into heaven, but in order for that to actually work, if they did manage to do that, that would have proven God to be fallible, which would have undone the fabric of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And it had Jay and Silent Bob in it.
Right. The series also features appearances from John Hamm, Miranda Richardson, Adria Arjona, Jack Whitehall, Francis McDormand, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Nick Offerman. What do you think of Netflix's response to the Good Omens controversy? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Yes. You gotta love people sometimes, you know. You gotta just sit back and just, have a good laugh.
Yeah. Also, $2 super chat from a side of salt. Have you seen Godzilla King of the Monsters?
Well, I know what I'm spending those $2 on.
Yay!
I still need. I've been not in good spots and just trying to get myself back in order. I need to go and watch because that's going to help me mentally. Definitely is going to help me mentally to go and watch a damn movie. So that's going to help overall. It's like, yeah, it's taken a few hours here to do something else instead of working around for other things that I need to do. But you can't do everything all at once. It's one of the problems of having a scatterbrain.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, I think we're slowly. I think we only have like a couple of minutes, so I think maybe we could just like read one or two more articles. So we have another movie based off of a popular franchise going to be coming out.
I'm
Um,
terrified already.
yes, so I guess so. So, but don't worry, it's not a sequel. It's not a remake. It's a prequel. So that makes it.
Brandon Kilgore says, so a bunny hiding eggs is fine, but we draw the line at ice cream.
Yeah. All right. So, which beloved horror franchise is going to be getting a prequel soon? Well, that would be the Amityville Horror.
What? Why?
I don't know. Whose turn is it? Is it who? Let's see.
I think it's mine.
Okay, go ahead.
Just like the alleged spirits in the infamous haunted house located on. It's hard to see the yellow text on white background.
Yeah.
On Ocean Avenue in New York, the Amityville horror franchise just keeps coming back. This time, according to Dateline, the famous East Coast property is going back to its roots with Amityville 1974. On Monday, Wonderfilm Media Corporation announced that all systems are go for a story that details the real-life DeFaro murders, which some believe contributed to the Lutz haunting in Jay Anston's 1977 novel. That book and subsequent film adaptation were phenomenal hits, which spawned a clunky franchise and a 2005 reboot starring Ryan Reynolds. This new entry will be written and directed by Casey La Scala. His story revisits Ronald DeFeo Jr., who shot his entire family while they slept. That's nice. This story is that this is a story that takes its jumping off point from the true facts surrounding the DeFeo tragedy, La Scala said, but also focuses on the human drama that took place inside the family that were relentlessly stalked by a terrifying evil. Even though moviegoers have grown tired of the stale haunted house concept, many have wanted a prequel that explores the tragic DeFeo killings, especially Ronald's motivation. Most of those people are studio execs. In 1982, an a backstory about the murders was released called Amityville: The Possession. But facts in the case...
I think it's pronounced inferential.
Okay. But facts in the case were exaggerated, and the surname was changed. There was also the Amityville murders in 2018, but that also emphasized a supernatural spin on the case. Amityville 1974 is scheduled to start filming in November with Wonderfilm Media producing. Founding partner Jeff Bowler says horror fans will get the movie they deserve. We are beyond thrilled to introduce Amityville 1974, Bowler said. Casey has a truly unique and terrifying vision for the Fright franchise, and audiences will experience horror like never before with this film.
Okay.
Except for that time it happened before.
We have a $5 comment from Maximum Blow who says, I love you guys. I love what you do on the site. Hope whatever's up with you, Decker, works out. You seem like a cool guy.
I seem like a cool guy. And then you get to know me, and suddenly you find that you're doing all my work for me.
Beautiful.
All right. But I just wanted to bring this up real quick. The article did remind me a bit of a thing that happened very recently.
Oh.
Have you heard of the television thing called The Act?
I've heard of it.
And you know, it is based on true events.
No, I did not know that.
Well, it is. But also there are a few caveats. Okay. Number one being based on true events. They do fuck with those true events, and several of the things that are shown didn't actually happen. Such as a certain friend showing up to see someone who went to jail. That certain friend never existed.
Goody.
So things like that. Things that, pretty major things, just get kind of messed around because it would make a nice TV show. But also, major thing I wanted to bring up that's kind of fucked up. The true act is based on the person's still in jail right now. They're still pretty young. It happened relatively recently. They did not get permission from the woman to actually use her name or her likeness.
Oof.
And they did get an actress who did look quite a bit like her, and they did use her real name. So, yeah.
Great. That's Oh man, that sucks. I fear about what's going to happen. I mean, if she does get out of jail, she's probably going to sue the hell out of them.
She has quite a case considering they did not get permission. So, I
But
mean,
yeah,
she does have her her likeness is something that she can sue for. Her name, that is something. They without getting a contract written, without getting permission, they did. Yeah, she's got definitely got legal grounds here.
mm-hmm. All right. So, yeah, I think that we have one more to read, and I want to bring up another article that I'm actually curious about, like, what your thoughts are on it are, because especially with us being like content creators, especially with everybody, who has to work really hard just so they can be able to make a living on something they love. But it's something very similar to when we were discussing, I believe, a few months ago or almost a year ago, about the YouTubers who are suffering from burnout because they have to constantly post on a weekly or daily basis. So this is something sort of similar. So this time we're going to be talking about various people who have been suffering from burnout, and that is video game creators. Every game you like is built on the backs of workers. Video game creators are burned out and are desperate for change. It's a pretty long article, but I will, I'll just like read some summaries of it, which are the first couple of paragraphs. Spending on video games and related equipment reached an all-time high last year, with Americans shelling out $42 billion to immerse themselves in a virtual world where they can steal cars, shoot cowboys, and fight Nazis with abandon. But as tens of thousands of video game fans and creators gather in Los Angeles this week for E3, a difficult truth about the gaming industry is beginning to emerge. What we've seen outsiders as a fan, creative business is becoming psychologically and financially unbearable for those who are working on it, which it's not really too much a surprise. I mean, if you've actually read articles from like EA or even Konami or such about like how workers are just like constantly like having long hour shifts and barely any pay. Let's see. Every game you like is built on the backs of workers, says Nathan Allen Ortega, 34, who found his dream job when Telltale Games offered him a position as a community and video game manager in 2015. Ortega was such a Telltale enthusiast, he used to participate in cosplay, the practice of dressing up as a particular character for events, as Reese Strongfork, one of the main heroes in the company's Tales from the Borderlands. So it was an easy decision to pack his stuff in Texas and relocate near San Rafael, California. But soon he was stressed out by work and he developed an ulcer and started coughing up blood. Part of the problem, Ortega says, was the executives would order game changes at the last minute, sending developers into overdrive, which led to inferior projects. This made Ortega's job of marketing the game even more difficult. And then you already know about the news about Telltale shutting down, and they were like in huge amount of bankruptcy. But yeah, it was a similar fate in which like a lot of like coworkers and employees are like working really hard to like get the game out. And yes, similar things happened for the people who were working on Red Dead Redemption 2, in which they were like working really hard to the core so that they can be able to get the game out. And it's a very long game if you ever played it. Let's see. Also, for people who worked on League of Legends are saying the same thing when not doing enough to respond to repeated allegations of sexism. Then there was also the guy who worked in Mortal Kombat 11 who was suffering from PTSD. And let's not forget about the Konami incident and the EA stuff. And then there's Activision.
Right.
So yeah, it's a pretty long one, but yeah, it just goes to show you that people who are passionate about like working in the games industry, depending on what company that you work at, it's pretty brutal. I actually read a similar article not too long ago about people who are working in the anime industry having to do the exact same thing. That's why most people don't want to be an animator or a storyboard artist or anything like that in an anime studio, because they work extremely long hours with very little pay and they're exhausted. The same thing kind of happened with like when they were porting the Dragon Ball Resurrection F arc to Dragon Ball Super, with conflicts of a combination of working on the movie and then not enough staff members. Some of them were inexperienced, some of them were overworked, and that's why it looked the way it did. So, yeah, anime and video games are becoming bigger than ever, yet not a lot of people want to work in the industry because it involves with a lot of work.
Oh, I didn't even realize. My OBS window was blocking the Alfreaka TV window, but I actually had 3 comments.
Oh, cool.
2 from Kansei, High Deck, Movie Talking, and 1 from Best Winner 84, Hi.
Awesome.
So, hello. I don't know how long ago that was. Sorry for the very late reply. I'm not used to getting comments on Alfreaka TV. So, that's new.
Yay.
Hooray.
Yeah. So I hope that, for anybody who wants to work in the game industry, just like with any job, just like please be careful. Your health comes first, even at the expense of like working 80 to 100 hours just to, craft a really good game or something. Just, if you're playing a game or anything like that, just remember the amount of hard work and time that people put into it. So I don't think there's really a lot of other articles I want to bring up. There's some that I didn't, such as like there was a leak of the Monster Hunter movie, the one with Paul Anderson, but yeah, it's just a leak, no real official trailer. So when that comes out, we'll discuss more about it. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it for our show.
Right. All right then. So I guess we're gonna do what we've got coming up.
Oh, before we do that, $2 from the Sock Monster who says Rooster Teeth is under fire for the crunch/pay bit. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crunch time, dangerous time.
Very dangerous.
It's a lot of. It's pretty much the whole go for short-term game at the expense of long-term viability. It's sort of how the industry has been working, but it's not necessarily a good thing.
No.
A lot of people said that if you just properly manage time, then you shouldn't have crunch time. But crunch time is just such a norm in game design that I feel like not growing up to be I'm going to make video games when I grow up. I think maybe I've kind of dodged a bullet there too.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what does everybody have coming up?
Chibithulu and I have the next Spider-Man retrospective video coming up.
Yay! Looking forward to that.
For those of you who didn't know, the Scooby-Doo review that was blocked for like 2-3 days has been unlocked. It's on my channel now.
Yay!
Earlier tonight. I'd better double check and make sure it hasn't disappeared again. So, yep, it's still visible.
Yay!
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, sounds great, Creepy. Let's see. I posted a video a few days ago, what I would like to see in the All That reboot, and I'm also going to be posting up a video about the only movie that spun off of All That, which was Good Burger. I'll be talking about that as well, and I'm going to be posting a bonus video as a follow-up to the video that I made last week about like what I would like to see in the remake. And for all you DreamWorks fans, Dream Machine episode 31 is out, and we discussed about Home, which was awful. So go listen to that if you're interested. And we're only about like 4 movies away until we reach How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, and that's where we'll make our stop because Abominable hasn't been out yet. So yeah, that's what I got. What about you, Decker?
Now I finished the review for Glass. It was completed. I uploaded it. It's currently in copyright purgatory. So I'm working on the first review of the summer special, and I was going to get the Bad CGI Sharks preview review out in between those, except the Glass review was supposed to actually be posted, so I guess I'm going to do the first of the summer special, and then I'm going to do the side review that's not involved with the summer special, and then later on in the summer, the Glass review will actually become visible again some random time, and just...
Sure.
It's gonna be interesting. But also on the gaming channel, I've gotten a few more things recorded for that. The Borderlands 2 VR Let's Plays that I've done on Twitch have been uploaded to the gaming channel. I'm going to be streaming on Twitch on Sundays and Wednesdays as scheduled Hopefully that's all going to work out. I'm not going to be doing Borderlands 2 VR tomorrow or any VR because I've lost my VR legs after not playing VR for so long, and if I get simulation sickness, it's really hard for me to concentrate on actually doing my work. So I'm going to stream something flat. So I'm going to stream a pancake game, and that'll be tomorrow on Twitch. And
right.
also, there's recorded a couple more parts of Sakura Angels that are going to be going up soon this week. I'm sure everyone's looking forward to that.
Yay.
Such an interesting story it is. So yeah, summer special starting up, gonna continue on. Hopefully gonna get my ass back to doing a video a week as I'm supposed to. That's what I've been saying for the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I swear. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
Thank you all for joining us. I've been Dr. Shadow.
I've been Patricia.
And I've been that long-haired creepy guy.
And remember, if you're planning on diversifying your internet personality thing, actually check the comment boxes because you kind of come off like a dick if you don't. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.